And welcome into the weekend sports kickoff. I'm Devin Albertson. Today joined by Sean Eno, Trevor Mater, and Isaiah Swan, our Northwest Missourian sports editor. How's it going over there, Isaiah?
Doing pretty good. It's good to be back.
Good. I got the right mic over there. That's good.
It's a win, Devin.
It's a win. Good way to start the day out. We're going to start with some Bearcat athletics. We'll start with the football team as they have landed out in Ohio, as Sean told me just a minute ago.
Twitter told me, so I'm just...
What'd you call it again?
Well,
Bearcat 1?
Yeah, Bearcat Equipment came out and said that Bear Force 1 is getting the stuff off of the plane.
So Bear Force 1 has landed in Ohio.
Really excited.
I'm pretty sure they have their own charter plane.
Yeah, they did.
And they used it because I think it was a little bit cheaper.
It might have been. I mean, NCAA is paying for it, so...
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you think about the game tomorrow, Isaiah? They're playing Ashland, number 3 team in the region, a really solid squad out there.
Oh, wow, there's a lot to talk about. I think first you have to examine yourself if you're Northwest, and you have to examine a couple of things that you got to take care of. First of all, last week against Missouri Western, Northwest looked like a new team on offense. If you weren't there, you were there, Devin, you were there, Sean. Offense looked brand new. They looked like they had confidence for the first time this season for a full 4 quarters. And I think that's important. I think that comes from senior quarterback Jonathan Baker. He showed confidence. He looks like he provides them with many more options. And ultimately that's what the big difference was putting that new quarterback in there. A couple notes. We'll talk about him later, but Jordan Thompson out for the rest of the season. That's a big kill. He's gone with an Achilles injury. Oh. And then Anthony Lane's a big one too. We saw that Marcus Jones got a unanimous first-team All-MIAA award. I mean, those DBs are important. And a guy like Anthony Lane, with him being gone, that's a big loss. Another big loss is Jordan Thompson. You remember that's a true freshman running back that they pulled a few games into the year, and now he's done. And so now we're looking at Emmanuel Jones and Chase White being the guys in that backfield, and that concerns me.
Yeah, and you're talking about Anthony Lane. It's like, I know Lane's a really good player, but Hossein comes in, he does a nice job. It's whoever takes Hossein's job that I worry about, the slot corner. It's not usually the backup you worry about, it's the backup's backup who comes in and fills his role that you worry about in the defense a little bit there, and just seeing how much depth they have there in the secondary. So that'll be interesting to see how they do versus the national team. Their quarterback's pretty good, pretty talented, has a big arm, so we'll see what happens there against Ashland. What do you think, Max? You were on the football team last year. What insight do you have here for us?
Well, I didn't get to fly on a plane all the way over to Ashland, Ohio. But in terms of the playoffs, well, actually, I didn't even get this experience, like not getting a bye week. And so I know they're a little banged up, and they're kind of, I mean, let's just say they're beat up a little bit. But I think when it comes playoff time, every week they say we have to go 1-0. Now you actually have to go 1-0 before you actually have to go home if you lose. So their mindset is obviously win, and at this point you just have to win to move on. Obviously you'd like a little bit of a big win here or there to try and establish some sort of dominance over somebody and kind of make the other team on the other side of the bracket or just on the other side of the region a little more intimidated. But again, a win's a win, no matter by how much or how little. So they're just going to have to go in that with their road dog mentality is what we always like to call it. So they go in there and just get a win no matter what.
Well, and I think for most teams like Northwest, when you're in the situation where you're always having home playoff games and none of these players on this team would have experienced a road playoff game except for maybe a couple with Minnesota State Mankato 4 years ago.
2014.
They would have been freshmen. So you're not used to that. But the good thing is defense travels. This team has the recipe of a team that can go on the road in adverse conditions and be able to succeed, or at least I feel that way.
Coach Wright mentioned it in the press conference. It's going to be wet. They're calling for rain, and it's going to be cold.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's good for the defense. And so I think that they'll have to use that to their advantage. Man, I had one other thing. Someone else has to talk.
Well, Isaiah, I'm going to stall for you for a little bit. But what's interesting for these guys is it's actually going to be something different. Instead of having that home playoff game and where you have a few of the teams that you've already seen before, like the Harding team they played last year, they've seen them a couple of times. You're going to a different time zone, let alone a different part of the part of the Midwest. You're actually going on the quote-unquote East Coast.
Northeast,
if you will. And they're playing a different team in a different place, so you get to experience something completely different. And for Coach Wright, I guarantee he's going to say, hey, take in the moment for just a little bit, but then get right into it because, you have to adjust to that real quick.
And what you said there with playing in the Eastern Time Zone, first ever playoff game in the Eastern Time Zone for Northwest. First time since 1984 we've played a game. Northwest played a game in the Eastern Time Zone. That was against Grand Valley State back in the day. So Bearcats actually won that game. Not that it really matters for today's players, but it's just been a while since Northwest has traveled east for a playoff game or a game in general. So it's a different atmosphere for the whole program. Even with the amount of success Northwest has had, it's been a lot of home games or going out up to Minnesota or over to Colorado or Washington for games in the playoffs and not having to travel east. So just a little bit different, and as Trevor was saying, 2014 was the game they lost on the road up to Minnesota Duluth, is who they played that year, 25-21. One of the first years that Doral was the head coach. So that's the last time they really had a true road game in the playoffs. It's been a while.
Well, and I'm curious to see how they adjust to the time difference. Granted, it's only 1 hour, but it's
playing
not,
at 11 a.m.
Right, you're still playing at 11 a.m. because even if it was a 1 o'clock kickoff in Eastern time, you still have noon. Or if it was a 2 o'clock kickoff, it's your normal 1 o'clock kickoff. But since it's a noon kickoff in the Eastern time zone, it's basically an 11 in the morning.
10 a.m., yeah.
Yeah,
Correct
11
me if I'm wrong. They haven't played an 11 a.m. kickoff all year, have they? I know none of the home games have been
It's been 1 o'clock, 1:30, somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah, 1 o'clock and 1:30 is usually the time. But what's funny is a lot of these guys, most of us like playing in the afternoon, early afternoon, because you got up and you had your routine and you got in and you got out, got everything kind of going instead of having to wait all day for a game where you're just sitting there like, all right,
anxious.
Well, it's about 2 o'clock now and it's about 4 more hours until kickoff where you've been up all day getting moving. You just want to kind of get up and get going. But I don't know if they really want to get up this early and get going because I think a wake-up call was, about 8 o'clock. And then you go eat breakfast right after that. And so
5.
that was for a 1 o'clock kickoff.
So wake-up call's probably 6 a.m.?
6, 7 a.m. And that means you got to get in the hotel a little bit early, less time to, we'd always go swimming at the pool, sit in the jacuzzi, play a little Marco Polo. We'd always have that time. But now that's going to be hindered a little bit because you have to have an earlier wake-up call. So it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. But I think, if they struggle a little bit in the first quarter, maybe that takes them a little more time to wake up, and I think that's something they're going to talk about. Is just getting up and getting going early. So
a couple days ago, I was able to talk to Caleb Mather, just kind of talk about what they saw in Ashland, and they think they're better than this team, and I think they have the confidence that they are better than this team. They think, looking at the film compared to what Ashland looked like and what Fort Hays looked like, Fort Hays looked better, and so I think you think about a couple of variables. If Jonathan Baker plays that whole game, what is the result then? We don't know. We don't know what would have happened. Maybe possibly a different outcome. Very tight game. It came down to the very last play. And then you look at, okay, these guys have like you said, Max, the defense travels, and I think that the defense is going to be fine. I think you look at the defense, and the defense is great at what they're doing. You obviously look at the offense without a sure running back, just because there's been question marks around it all season. You don't know what's going to happen. So you look at that, but I think you go into the matchup, I think they all are really overwhelmingly confident that they are better than this team. Also, I think thinking about Wright, it is his first year. Doral won back-to-back national titles. I think it's important to look at Doral's first year here. He lost 3 games.
Yep.
Didn't make the playoffs. So we're already ahead of schedule as to where Wright was whenever he came in. Then you look at the next year, and they lost in 2012 to Minnesota Duluth on the road, and they made it to the second round of the playoffs. So they're right where they should be at with the new head coach. I think that transition is very often overlooked. I think that is a factor into this year's team and to the transition that's going on within the program.
And actually, they did make the playoffs Wright's first year. They didn't make it in Doral's first year. They didn't make it made it to the regional championship game, lost to Pittsburgh State in a bad game there. But they didn't make
Pitt State won the national title.
Yeah, they did. So
That's right. Right. Thank you.
So they made the playoffs for 14 straight years. I think it was 18 in the last 20. So they've been in the playoffs a regular every year. So that's what the Bearcats have done. That's actually they lost to Missouri Western down in St. Joe by 3, came back in the playoffs down there and beat them in the rematch. So Northwest does a nice job of that, usually getting a rematch in the playoffs. So hopefully down the road maybe you get Fort Hays again. But I think with Northwest, you look at this playoff bracket, Ashland's a team that's 1-6 all time in the playoffs. UND and Harding don't have a lot of playoff success either. So Northwest, if they can get this first win on the road, I like their second round matchup. And you look forward and you avoid both Fort Hays and Ferris State until one of them in the regional championship game. I think Northwest got a pretty good draw in this playoff picture. If you look at just the big picture of it, 'cause they've probably avoided the 2 big dogs in the region until the regional championship game, which is huge.
Yeah, this is maybe I'd have to do some research to actually back this up, but maybe one of the most dangerous 5 seeds ever when you look at what this 6 seed. I keep thinking they're a 5 seed.
Well, stop it.
It'd be nice if they were, but this might be one of the most dangerous 6 seeds ever.
Well, it's funny because you look back at the past years, it seems like the 6 seed always kind of has a Grand Valley a couple of years ago. They were a 6 seed, and you look back even further, I can't remember who's.
I think it was West Georgia in 2014.
Right,
they were 6 seed. They made the semifinals.
There's just a couple random 6 seeds coming out of nowhere, and for Northwest, it's really not coming out of nowhere. I don't think they'll be coming out of nowhere. And I think the 6th spot was actually the best draw they could have because it still gives them a home game. Possibly a home game, yes.
And you, like Devin alluded to, you avoid Fort Hays State or Ferris State until the finals.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to beat up on it. Assuming Ferris State wins, they're going to beat up on – those 2 physical teams are going to beat up on each other. And you're just going to get the carnage of whatever happens after that, should Northwest make it that far. And what Isaiah was talking about is that this is going to be one of the, they're still a strong team and that they think they're better. I think they're absolutely better when it comes to overall defense. You take the defense over number 1 defense versus the number 1 offense. You'll take the number 1 defense any day of the week. And when your best player on offense is a quarterback and it's going to be 100% chance of rain and it's going to be really cold, you got to put more to the side of the defense. And so all you have to do is score, 14 points?
17 points.
Yeah, 17 points, and you're there. You're winning.
Yeah, Massey has a 17-14 Nationals. Well, they have it,
I think
it's close.
I think tomorrow is going to be, if the weather conditions are what it looks like they're going to be, tomorrow is going to be that ugly 1970s style throwback game that I think favors Northwest heavily because Northwest probably couldn't offensively afford to get into a shootout with Ashland if the offense is able to prevail over the Northwest defense. But if the weather plays a factor and they kind of thwarts what Ashland can do, the advantage is definitely in Northwest because just ground and pound the ball like we've seen them do recently. It might not be a pretty win. It might be a 14-0 win that looks ugly, but in reality, Northwest dominated the whole way.
And I think what Northwest offense works well in is that they run so many quick and intermediate throws, and you don't have to sit back there and try and launch a big ball. All you have to do is be able to put the ball on target to Shane Williams, and he's going to go
Baker,
up there.
And his touchdown pass to Bain, that was a dime down the sideline.
It was a dime. But, we saw when JB came in against Ferris State, and we saw, at least what I saw in the scrimmage, the fall scrimmage, was he utilized those intermediate passes, and he utilized those sweeps coming around, going back and forth. And, when you have either Sean Bain or Shane Williams coming up and he does that little toss, it counts as a pass.
Little shovel pass thing.
Yeah, a little toss like that, and you have the shovel passes. Those are basically run plays. It's just a different way of getting a run play. It'll count as a pass.
It's an extension of the run game.
Exactly. So those are more reasons for Northwest offense to be even more successful in that, where I don't think Ashland, when you have a big arm quarterback like him, he's going to probably struggle a little bit.
I'll tell you what, though. Travis Tarnowski is their quarterback. This guy just isn't a thrower. He can run. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, and he can punt.
Yeah, he's our punter.
He's our punter?
And Coach Wright, so we've interviewed Wright all year. And every time we ask him about a good player, he usually gives us a pretty good 1 or 2 minutes on a breakdown of what he sees. And then if anyone else asks him another question about it, he just kind of gives us sports jargon or indifferent answer just because he's already talked about it and there's no reason to. I think we asked him 3 times on Tuesday, and each time he went in depth about this guy. Partly because you hear punter and you're like, okay, is he like squib kicking it? Is that what he's doing? Or like what kind of kick is it? Pooch kicking it? Is that what he's doing? No, this dude can boom it. And he likes to go for it deep in his own territory. Like if you look at the stats around the 20, 30-yard line, it could be 4th and 2. They'll line up in our center, and he gets to make the call, or he gets to line up in the gun, and he gets to make the call. Like, something like that is just unbelievably difficult to try and stop. Now, I'm not saying it is impossible to stop. I'm just saying that Tarnowski's got a lot of weapons. He can run. He does have the arm, but watch out for him being able to utilize his feet and also maybe catch us off guard, because we saw it against Pitt State. While I don't think that every player on the Northwest football team was mentally ready in that game, Pitt State tried every single trick play they could possibly pull out of their butt. And now might be a similar situation here for Travis and Ashland.
Yeah, definitely possible there. In Ashland, they have seen a front line like Northwest, similar to it in Ferris State earlier this year with their big defensive end Seiler. So they've seen guys like Grunlow up front. So they're going to be a little more used to it. They did play Ferris State when Ferris didn't have their starting quarterback. So there's why they won that game 20-3. But Ashland, they're still a really quality program. They've been really good in the regular season in the past 5 years or so. It's just that playoff bug has really got them there. They've been losing to teams like Grand Valley in the playoffs. They've lost to some good teams, and I think Northwest is another one of those good teams. I think Northwest is able to get a win here. We'll go around and put some score predictions here.
I got one more. Question for Max actually before this, because you've been in the film room and stuff come playoff time when you're facing teams that you aren't used to seeing, like a West Georgia or a Ferris State. How difficult is it to prepare for a team that you have not seen or played?
The unknown.
For the unknown, because when you play Fort Hays State every year, you kind of grow maybe what to expect, or a Central Missouri. But how difficult is it? How hard was it for him to prepare this week for Ashland, having never seen them before?
Well, actually, I think it's a little bit easier because you kind of don't rest on any previous notions. You know, with Nathan Shepard, you go, okay, this guy's a big dude. We know he does this. We know he does that. Well, what does the new kid have to offer? And you kind of focus on the new kid as opposed to the kind of returning guys. So I think I find it enjoyable to watch.
Breath of fresh air.
Yeah, you get to watch a different team, and you get to watch everything from just watching different teams they play, and even in their stadiums, because, some of these new, like when we played West Georgia, they were playing all these guys in they played like Jacksonville State or something, like Division I AA team. We're like, man, they're playing D1 AA teams. This is nuts. But, it's kind of weird just thinking about all these different players and teams, and it's just nice to being able to look at a different offense or a different defense in our situation and see, okay, well, I have to look at each single guy more, as opposed to saying, oh, I saw him last year, I know what he does, and he might have added this little thing. But now you really have to learn a new person, so it helps you get into the film room and dive into it more, I think.
All right, so that's a good question, Trevor. Great answer, Max. Isaiah,
Thanks,
what's
Trevor.
your prediction for the game?
There's a few things I think about, and it's the rain, because I'll tell you what, at Missouri Western, that ball was sliding all around, and we still scored 30. I know it's Missouri Western, but you still have to consider that. I look at it, I don't think anyone breaks 20. Yeah, I'm gonna go 2013.
Who? Northwest?
Northwest.
Okay, just
yes.
making sure. Max, what about you?
I'm going to pass it to Sean.
Sean, okay. Sean, you're up.
Much like you guys have said, there's not going to be a lot of points scored, I don't think. I looked at the forecast 2 days ago, and I think even yesterday it was like a high of 56, 100% chance of rain. Like a 100% chance of rain. They don't just throw that number around. But I think it's going to be a really close game, and I'm gonna go 17-14 Northwest.
Trevor.
Well, I have the weather forecast for tomorrow up, courtesy of the National Weather Service. Tomorrow, showers and possibly a thunderstorm. High near 55 with a south wind of 18 to 21 miles an hour. Wind gusts as high as 39 miles an hour. Chance of precipitation is 100%. Rainfall amounts between 3/4 inch possible. If all this happens, the field is going to be a swamp. The wind is going to make it hard for the kicking game, potentially. This is an ugly game, like I alluded to. So I'm going to go with an ugly score. I'm going to say Northwest pitches the shutout and wins 9-0.
9. So they get a safety and a touchdown?
Or a touchdown with a missed extra point and a field goal.
Oh, okay. I like that. I like that. When you talked about thunderstorms, I just looked at it as well, courtesy of Google. Yeah, I know. I had to throw that in there.
Trust
But
Google.
the thunderstorms, that'll be interesting because the thunderstorms are going on during the game himself. Supposedly, there's anticipated thunderstorms, so there could be a bit of a delay. Hopefully,
That's
there's
what
not.
I need to hear.
And
That
if
is
if,
no.
if this game was played Sunday instead of Saturday, chance of snow Sunday in Ashland.
What? Let's hope it doesn't have to go that far. But
What the?
yeah, but point being, I like where you said that it's going to be. I don't think kicking is going to be much of an option in this game. So I think I'm going to go. Ooh, I see you put me in a tough spot. I want to say 21, but I think that might be too much. I'm going to say 14-7.
All right,
Northwest
14-7.
Missouri State University.
Also, I just got a little tidbit that Ashland's starting running back is also out for this game. Andrew Vaughn.
Wasn't
he had
he out
1,000
last
yards.
week?
Yeah, he had 1,000 yards rushing this year through 10 games, almost 6 yards a carry, 13 touchdowns. So was their go-to guy. They'll be going with Keyshawn Sims, sophomore running back, is their number 2 guy. So he's averaging almost 5 yards a carry. So
Maybe he has the Lawrence Taylor flu. You know, offensive lineman would happen to get the flu every time they'd go up against Lawrence Taylor.
from what I heard, it's his PCL. They are in University of Grand Valley. So
Okay, well, never mind.
Let's be honest though. Like, what team was going to run against Northwest anyway?
0 rushing touchdowns so far allowed this year.
If Harding University last year,
When
the
all
team
they
that
do is run.
only runs, wasn't able to move, had 35 rushing yards. They had under 100. They had to have.
Did they have
They did.
negative yards?
I think it was
at-
119. I think they got over 100, but it wasn't pretty. It was like a bunch of carries.
But anyway, if they have that, and this Northwest defense is supposedly better than that defense, I don't think you can run the ball. But you know, as an offensive coach, you obviously say we're going to run the ball. We don't care if you know our play. Yeah, you better find something a little tricky in there, coach.
I looked up Harding 43 carries for 119 yards. It's under 3 yards a carry.
That's not good.
That's not good.
Not good.
I'm also going to agree with Isaiah here. 17-14, Northwest defeats Ashland. So we have the same prediction there. For this one, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about some Bearcat basketball
Oh
starting up.
yes.
There we go. Isaiah's ready for some Bearcat basketball here
Thank goodness.
on the Weekend Sports Kickoff on X 106. And welcome back into the Weekend Sports Kickoff. I'm Devin Albertson, joined by Sean Eno, Trevor Mater, and Max Moore as we say goodbye to Isaiah Swan. It's time for some college football picks here on the show. As we're going to go with our first one. Not a lot of great college football games in Division I this week, to say lightly.
No.
That's a bit of an understatement.
If we were going to Sean for college bowl games, he'd be saying, no.
Like there might be some games that pop up as good games. Like that always tends to happen on weeks where there aren't a lot. But when you just look at it from a view right now, yeah, there really isn't much.
We'll go to the best game, number 24 Michigan at number 5, Wisconsin, the only ranked matchup of the week. 11 o'clock kickoff on Fox. I believe Wisconsin's about a touchdown favorite in this one. I know Joe and Ryan aren't here because Joe, no TV today, so he didn't want to show up. And then Ryan, he's out in Ohio with the Bearcat football team today, as they're going to call
this
the
year
game.
technically, but
Yeah,
more
KXCB.
specifically today.
He's the color guy for KXCB tomorrow, so good luck to Ryan out there. They're both taking Wisconsin in this game. Max, what do you got? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm going to take Wisconsin. I think them at home. I think they're rolling right now. I think they're out to try and prove that they are one of the best teams in college football. I think I'm going to take them. I know Michigan was one of my picks to get into the top 4, but you know, thanks a lot, Michigan.
Things change.
How come your quarterbacks have break everything? You know, come on. Anyway, Wisconsin wins.
Trevor?
I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going to take Michigan. Michigan's kind of an interesting team to me because they haven't beat a good team this year. They have not beat a team with a winning record.
Really?
So, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And you're going out on a limb and saying
I'm
Michigan's
going
going to win
saying,
against an undefeated Wisconsin team that's ranked number 5 in the country.
yes.
Okay,
Because
I see
bold
how your
strategy,
brain works.
well, because I think Michigan's a good team. I do. And their quarterback, his first game escape, I believe it's Brandon Peters. He took over a couple weeks ago when they played Rutgers. He's been playing well for them. They like what they see from him. And I think just as chaotic as this year has been in college football, wouldn't it just make sense that
You just want more
Wisconsin gets
chaos.
upset? Yeah, and I think this is the one they lose because I don't think they'll lose to Minnesota. Maybe they drop the Big Ten championship game. Who knows? But I'm going to go with Michigan in this one.
Sean?
I'm going to go with the good old Badgers. I watched the game last week, and they they made Iowa look like Iowa was in previous years.
Yeah,
It's like
that was.
I don't think that they know how to offense. Like they just actually don't know how to scheme an offense at some points.
Josh Jackson was their best offense.
Let me just say that Iowa putting up 66 total yards of offense 1 week after scoring 55 points on Ohio State is the most Iowa thing that has ever happened to Iowa football.
That's great.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know. I don't know. Making the Big Ten championship game, losing the game,
No,
throttled in the Rose Bowl. Is almost
I
perfect.
think this is the most Iowa thing to happen to Iowa football.
Yeah, there's no way you should be able to drop that many points against Ohio State.
And then they almost had as many points against Ohio State as they did yards against Wisconsin.
I mean, Josh Jackson had more interception return yards than they had total offense.
Yeah.
So, he's a corner. That's
like
not
he's
good.
on pace. Like if he declared for the draft, like they're projecting to be a first round pick, and this
Yeah.
is a guy that almost didn't get to start at the beginning of the season.
He's the best Josh Jackson I've ever seen in college athletics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dang, that's a lot. But I think Wisconsin's going to be able to pull this out again. Michigan really hasn't showed me anything that's lived up to the
You mean
hype.
their wins over Florida, Cincinnati, Air Force, Purdue, Indiana on the road, Rutgers, Minnesota, and at Maryland? Don't.
To find that, someone tweeted out like the
They don't
combined.
have to tweet it out. They like
It's
we
bad.
can just see it right now. Like they're
Losses
beating the
to
teams
Michigan State and at
that-
Penn State.
I mean, arguably they're even with Michigan State, but I mean, other than that, the Penn State game was not close. But I think it's going to be close. I think Wisconsin's going to win by a touchdown.
So right at the spread.
Yeah.
So Vegas has it perfect.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say perfect because it's 7.5 right now, so just a little bit under. But
Okay, if this game was in Michigan, I'd be more amped to take the Wolverines like Trevor, but I am definitely taking the Badgers this one. I hope Wisconsin. I hope I'm wrong in this one because I want to see a little bit of chaos. But I do believe that Wisconsin is going to be a little bit too much for Michigan. The over-under is 40.5 right now, so we get nice Big Ten football here with two teams just slugging it out to the end. So I'm going to take Wisconsin this one. What was our record from last week? I didn't even say that at the beginning of the segment.
I think I went 2 and 3.
Typical Trevor.
Yeah, typical Trevor.
Joe went 3-2. Sean went 4-1.
Let's go.
Ryan went 2-3, and I went 4-1. So I'm not sure what the overall is now. You're supposed to have that for us, Trevor. You're our keep track of the.
I think.
picks
Well, Joe's
guy.
been keeping track. I think I wrote it down though. Let me look at my handy dandy notepad.
You're gonna look,
Your handy dandy notepad.
We
And like the handy dandy notebook from Blue's Clues.
Yeah, dude.
I used to love that show when I was a kid.
Trevor,
Okay.
you could
Still looks
What do you
like
mean
you
you were
love
a
that show.
What do you mean when you
So,
were a kid?
yeah, I still.
not
So
good.
Joe is 30 and 20. First of all, Ryan is ahead. He's 34 and 16. Devin and Sean are tied for second at 33 and 17. Joe is in fourth at 30 and 20, and bringing up the rear, yours truly, still breaking 500. However, 26 and 24. And team. By the way, I just found this tweet. Teams Michigan have beaten this year have a combined record of 31 and 53.
Not good.
So definitely beat Wisconsin.
Yeah, they'll boost that.
Okay, so that's what we have in this one right there. Next game we're going to go to is Texas at West Virginia, 11 o'clock on ESPN. West Virginia right now is about a field goal favorite in this one. Joe and Ryan are both taking the Mountaineers in this one of West Virginia. Let's go to you first, Sean, in this one. Who do you got in this one?
I thought I was going to take Texas, but then I remembered that they were a 34-point spread to Kansas, and they didn't cover. They didn't cover the spread against Kansas. You know how hard it is to not cover against Kansas? Kansas
It was a
isn't
5-touchdown spread, Sean.
They're not even a real squad, Devin. I don't think you quite understand. But I'm also going to take West Virginia. They had a few down weeks. They beat Iowa State a few weeks ago, if not last week. Maybe they can't remember. The memory is a bit hazy.
I mean, West Virginia only beat Kansas on the road by 22. So
Yeah, but Texas beat it by like 14 or 15. So by the factor of
By the
transitive
transitive property.
in the world, yeah, I mean, with West Virginia being at home, I think it's going to be a little bit different. Texas has to travel to the right coast, and I think it's going to be a bit of an early start. Yeah, I know what I said. Don't
What
like
if
that.
you're facing down?
I don't
What
care.
if you're in the North Pole and you're looking down on the U.S.? Is it still the right coast?
we're just on the East Coast.
No, see, because I wanted to be different and people in I don't know. But yeah, I think West Virginia is going to come out here. Texas defense isn't as strong as I thought they were at the beginning of the year, and their offense is just kind of meh.
Meh.
What about you, Trevor?
I'm gonna go West Virginia as well. I like Will Greer. I like the Mountaineers in this game.
Well,
Max?
not to sound too redundant, but I'm going to go with the Mountaineers here, and because of Will Greer, and I like Will Greer, and I like the Mountaineers this year. Good pick, Trevor. I like
Good
that
pick, Max.
Not
Proud
so
of you.
fast, my friends. I'm taking Texas. Taking the Longhorns in the upset here. I think they're going to have enough to get a signature win this year on the road. So I think
Is it a signature win?
at 7-3 West Virginia?
It's a good
I
win.
think so.
I don't know if it's a signature win. It's a
I think
good
for this
win.
year, for the first year of Tom Herman, it would be.
Are you
So
sure it's not the revenge game against Kansas? Are you sure that wasn't their signature win?
it took them a whole year to get back on Kansas level. I'm not gonna lie.
I know,
So-
right? I mean, it only took Kansas. Like
I mean, this is a
90
team
years
that
to
played
get on
well
Texas.
versus
So come on.
Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Lost by 5 and 3 in back-to-back weeks. Held Oklahoma State only to 13
They beat
points in
Iowa
overtime.
State.
They beat Iowa State. That's a signature win. I'm kidding.
No,
They
it
barely
probably
lost to
is.
USC. This team has been on the brink in a lot of these games they've lost this year. Their TCU game was probably the worst one they've played all year, and they lost by 17 for conference play at least. I think they go on the road. They beat West Virginia. They beat Texas Tech next week to finish at 7-5. So I like this Texas team. Also Kansas. I know that we're not picking their games this week, but they have Oklahoma this week and then at Oklahoma State the next week. So their final 2 games, they're going to
They
finish
may
the
give
year.
up a combined 200 points in the final 2 weeks.
Baker Mayfield is going to throw for like 12 touchdowns. He's going to win the Heisman just off of tomorrow.
You know, it was funny. There was like, he was on the Dan Patrick show, and he's like, all right, so you know, do you have Kansas this week? What about Kansas? He was like, oh, you know, they do this, that, and the other. Said, Baker, you're going to throw for like 9 touchdowns this week. And if he gets like 9 more touchdowns, he gets to be Justin Timberlake's backup dancer or something. They have like an arranged bit.
Right.
And then he was like, Baker, if you don't get it by this week, if you get it this week, I will arrange something even further for you. And he will definitely probably at least get 9 touchdowns within the first half. Sean, what do you have to say about that?
I mean, I'm not going to doubt it. That's a lot of points in the first half.
Yeah, they scored
Now-
38 against Oklahoma State in the first
Yeah,
half.
but I mean, I'm not sure that they wouldn't pull them after the first half.
You got the 9 touchdowns first. You got to get the 9,
That's
and then we're
a
good.
lot. See, but they can also run the ball too. So
They can do whatever they want versus Kansas.
they can do even against like a not Kansas
Same-
team. Sometimes they can still do whatever they want.
Good thing for Kansas, they played Southeast Missouri State to start the year and beat them by 22 points. They've went on a 9-game
Good
losing
old
streak since
SEMA.
I
then.
love how the other night we were watching the college basketball pregame stuff, and they were comparing. You know, the Champions Classic was going on. They were comparing how the teams in the Champions Classic were doing in football this year. You know, Kentucky's struggling. Duke's kind of their normal mediocre self. Michigan State's having a good year, and then it showed Kansas 1-9, and then it had like how ESPN does like the highlight around it, and at the bottom it said one win was against FCS Southeast Missouri State.
Sad day.
9-game losing streak, and then I played the 2 Oklahoma schools, so make that 11 here. I'm just going to go on a limb and say 11-game losing streak at the end of the year.
Devin with the
Not
hot
quite
takes.
the perfect 0-12 season they had a couple years ago, but it's close.
Not quite perfect. Hey, Sean, you know what? You might as well go all or go nothing, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're going to get the number 1 pick next year.
Wait a second.
We have breaking news.
What?
We have breaking news.
What's the breaking news?
Trevor, I hate to say it, but Danica Patrick is ending her
I
race career.
already
And she's
knew that.
retiring from racing after next year's Indy 500.
Good for her.
That's not. What
And
you
that's
wanna
our
say,
that's
but-
NASCAR talk.
That is totally not what I want to say, but we'll save that for another time.
And there's race car talk presented by Trevor Mater.
Yeah.
Devin,
All right,
what's the next game?
Next game here, number 19, North Carolina State at Wake Forest, 6:30 on ESPNU. Wake Forest, right now, it should be a close game between these two schools. I want to make sure I have the spread actually right.
I just saw it was it 2 points?
1.5?
Yeah, 1.5.
Wake by 1.5. It's actually the home team favorite here against the ranked opponent. 1.5. That's what I had down. I just wasn't quite sure that looked right. Wake Forest actually being favored at home versus a ranked opponent, but they're looking good this year. We'll go to you first, Trevor, on this one. What do you have in this one between the Wolfpack and the Deacon Demons?
I'm gonna take North Carolina State. They're 7-3. They have 3.
Is that what it is?
The Demon Deacons. Thank you.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
the,
Is
did
that
you say
what
the
it's like?
Deacon Demons?
Yeah, dude.
It doesn't matter.
They're the Demon Deacons.
Okay.
The Fighting Tim Duncans, whatever Chris Paul's, whatever you want to call them.
The Tim Duncan.
Their three losses are to a good South Carolina team, a really good Clemson team by a touchdown where they were driving that game and could have won it, and then they lost by 12 on Notre Dame. I like this NC State team. Dave Doran's probably saved his job there. I'm going to say they beat the Demon Deacons this Saturday.
All right. Well, I know that Joe and Ryan agree with you, but what about Max?
Argyle. I love the Argyle. We're going to go North Carolina on this one. What is a Demon Deacon, by the way?
Yes.
Let me Google it.
That's a good question.
All right. As he's Googling that, do you have any other analysis for this game other than it's an ACC matchup?
I honestly have not watched a minute of North Carolina nor Wake Forest,
North Carolina
but
State.
Oh, North Carolina State.
It's the Wolfpack.
Okay. So no Argyle. I was thinking North Carolina. I'm sorry. I read the ST or read the state as at
okay.
and it just got real quick.
At.
North Carolina State. Yeah, the Wolfpack. Actually, I'm going to take North Carolina. Yeah, I'm going to still take North Carolina State.
Yeah, North Carolina.
Yeah, I think they're pretty good this year. And yeah, sorry for mistaking North Carolina State, North Carolina. I'm sure that's never happened before.
We'll see. Well, maybe once or twice.
Yeah. Well,
so Sean.
Here on my sheet, it says I put down North Carolina State, and I'm going to stick with that pick. I haven't watched enough ACC football to know. I think I've watched more ACC basketball than I have ACC football this year, and we're 1 to 2 games into the entire year, so that tells you
that's
anything.
fair.
Wake Forest, they're just an average ACC team, and I think North Carolina State needs to finish out the year strong.
I am going to take the Wolfpack as well. I thought more people take Wake Forest in this game, but that's what happens. You have crappy matchups in this one. It's hard to pick them. So we're all taking North Carolina State and being safe there. And now, a little bit different. Usually we have 5 games to pick, but since they're all so bad this week and it's hard to pick, you know what? We're going to take Mercer, Alabama. I'm kidding. We're not doing that game. Or Louisiana Monroe at Auburn. We're not doing those games. So we get an upset pick of the week. You get it right. You get 2 points. Underdog must be ranked lower than at least a 7-point underdog. I'm going to go first because I don't want Trevor to take my
Darn
pick.
it.
I'm taking UAB over Florida, who's a 10.5-point favorite in this one at home. I'm taking the Dragons. And so is Joe, and Trevor copied off me, and he's taking UAB as well.
I actually had sent my pick out in the group meeting before you
Well,
did.
you know what? I made the rundown, and
I
one already had. So.
Because you yelled at me for stealing your pick, although you actually stole it from me.
Not true.
I was surprised.
I'm stealing
What
votes,
is
guys.
the spread on that game? A 10-point spread?
10.5.
I mean, I get it because it's UAB and they're still not regarded as,
They're bowl eligible, man.
yeah, they're bowl eligible. They're 7-3.
smack you.
He would love. But when you look at Florida, they're not going to get the same respect on a Florida team. I think they're better than Florida. You look at the way Florida's playing right now. Who's even going to be starting at quarterback for Florida? They've had like 3 guys all year.
They have an offense? It's MIA, I thought.
It exists.
They field an offense.
Yeah, they don't do much with it. I'm thinking it's probably Felipe Franks will get the start. They've just been a mess all year. It sounds like Chip Kelly's going to be there, so that'll be interesting. They won't play defense at all, but they'll at least have an offense. So I'm going to take the Blazers, right? That's their mascot.
I think it's a dragon.
They're the Blazers, but it looks like a dragon.
Yeah.
I think it is a dragon.
They've had an interesting last couple of years. They're appreciating back. Bill Clark's done a great job, and I think they get what might be a staple win for the program moving forward as they upset Florida this weekend.
Let's go, Sean. What's your pick?
Well, I didn't really know what team to pick, so I kind of scrolled down the list of games like, oh, what's a ranked team? And then I discovered Minnesota over Northwestern.
No.
What?
Ooh.
Is that yours?
That was going to be one of mine.
You can pick it.
use
We have
it.
3
no,
people.
No, I have a better one. I have a better
Ooh.
one, Sean.
Ooh.
Kansas over Oklahoma.
You get
If
20
you
points.
get that right, you get 20 points right, and I'll give you $20.
No, but we should get an extra point if you pick the largest spread. If you pick the game
The largest spread.
with the largest spread. And so
Well, if that's the case, then I'm about to change my pick.
well, no, you already submitted your pick.
It's true. It's already.
I can still change it.
Nope. It's
No,
like
you can-
already
you-
recorded plus said over the air, so it's locked.
The people heard it. Sean, your pick.
Well, I'm going to
And
pick the Golden Gophers over the Northwestern Wildcats, right? Yeah.
Right at the requirement, too, with that 7-point. I like it.
Oh, yesterday it was 7.5, so that's
okay, it's
why I
fine.
kinda
It's
saw
fine.
it
That's at least a 7-point underdog, so you're good.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully it doesn't drop even more. Does that, nullify?
No,
my
you're good.
pick?
You're
Would
good.
you expect anything less from Sean to do the bare minimum?
I mean, that's how I'm getting through college.
Sean, bare minimum
Thank
knee
you.
now.
Yeah, but that's pretty much right. But yeah, just looking at this, I think with the Big Ten, anybody can almost come out and win when you're in that
middle of the pack range, yeah.
it's just well, they can kind of beat up on anybody except the really goods and the really bad. You're they should just not field the program.
Illinois
Or-
versus Ohio State this week.
Or they could be they should be in the national title hunt. You got 2 types of teams.
What about you, Max? What's your upset?
I'm going to have you go, Devin.
I already
You
said
did.
mine, UAB over Florida.
Oh, okay.
You want me to say Ryan's before you go?
Yeah, I want to hear Ryan.
He's taking Syracuse at Louisville. Syracuse plus 13.
Oh, I'm going to knock all of you out of the park.
Here we go.
Utah over Washington, 17.5-point favorites.
Wow.
The Huskies are. It's going to be a wild Pac-12 after dark matchup. I'm going to take the Utah Utes in that one.
Ooh, I like it.
You know one that wouldn't surprise me this week? Just
The one you should have went with your upset pick instead of
the
stealing
one
mine.
I should have. Do you want me to change it?
I don't care. You do whatever you
Okay.
want.
No.
No,
You can't change.
nope.
You
I
can't
will-
change.
I think I want him to change this one, actually.
Wait, what was the pick?
I might. I'm gonna stick with UAB.
Say it. Say it.
I'm gonna stick with UAB, but the one I've been on the fence about, just because as crazy as things have been so far this year, Miami a 19-point favorite against Virginia. This is a good Virginia team, not a great Virginia team, but a good one. They're really well coached by Bronco Mendenhall.
Do it.
I could see it.
Do it.
You know what? Just to be different, changing my upset pick. The chaos continues. I'm gonna take the Cavaliers to upset the Canes tomorrow afternoon.
Nah, dude, I think the Hurricanes are going to go down there. They're going to pass the turnover chain around like 5 times.
This game's in
Trevor's gonna
Miami.
come in next Sunday and be
And
like,
UAB is gonna win by 30.
yeah, and then Trevor's going to be like, wow, look at that. The Hurricanes came in and won by 45. What a great pick I had.
Yeah, and you can't go back now.
No,
No.
I'll stick with it.
You already-
Miami at
you already
home is just
picked-
too
This
good.
was actually the one I was going to take before it hit me. Like, holy cow, Florida's a 10-point favorite over UAB. So this is a real upset. I'm going to take Virginia over Miami.
Yes, because the mid-major over 10-point dog to a big
but it's
Power
a
5 is-
crappy Power 5 team.
Nonetheless, still
That's
a
like
Power 5 team.
that's like picking Ohio to beat Kansas.
It's not that bad.
No,
Let's
it's not
be real
quite that
here.
bad.
That's like it's Ohio being an FCS school for they're beating Kansas. Okay, let's be real here.
Fact.
Okay, so that's what our college picks are for this week. We're going to take a quick break and come back with some NFL picks here on the weekend sports kickoff. And welcome back into the weekend sports kickoff. I'm Devin Albertson, joined by Sean Nino, Trevor Mater, and Max Moore. As we went through our college picks earlier in the show, we talked about the Bearcat football team and both the basketball teams here at Northwest Missouri State. But now it's time for our NFL picks. And our first game that we have on the docket, the Los Angeles Rams at the Minnesota Vikings, noon on Fox. Minnesota, about a 2-point favorite in this one. Let's see who everybody else is taking around our pick'ems who are not here. Joe and Ryan are gone. Joe is taking the Rams, but Ryan's taking the Vikings. What about you, Max?
I'm going to go with the Rams in this one. I think they're going to go and I think they're going to go see what their future is. And what I mean by that, I think they're going to go see their future, their next locker room that they're going to be in come February.
Super Bowl pick.
I think they might be. I think they're that good.
The offense is good.
And their defense is just as good, if not better. I think that defense is a very solid defense. I think Longacre gets a sack on Sunday. I think that what does the tapping mean?
I don't know.
Well, anyway, whatever. But I think the Rams are going to win this one. I think they're going to go in and take care of. I'm still not even sure who the starting quarterback is.
Case Keenum for the Vikings.
It's going to be Case
Yep.
Keenum.
Case Keenum for the
As
W.
it should be.
And the Vikings are now a 2.5-point favorite. They've risen a little bit there in the spread. Trevor, what about you?
I'm going to take the Vikings in this one. Home field advantage. Everything you said about the Rams, you could almost say about the Vikings, too. Case Keenum is playing surprisingly well. The running game obviously isn't quite as strong as the Rams, but I would argue their defense might be better than the Rams' defense, and they have this weird ability of being able to take the ball away as well. So I'm going to take the Vikings at home in this one. This is a really, really good matchup.
And Sean.
I'm going to take the Vikings at home. I think their defense, like Trevor said, is just a bit better than the Rams. And I'm still not 100% sold on the Rams' offense. I think it's good, but against the Vikings' defense, that's where I need to see them play against an elite defense and still be able to put up numbers. Because they've been putting up numbers against not great teams, and you can do that. So
Yeah, I see what you're saying there, but I do believe in the Rams offense. I do believe in Sean McVay as a play caller, and Jared Goff's playing really well. They're playing up in Minnesota. I'm taking the Rams in this one. I think they're going to win. Of course, they'll cover the 2.5-point spread here. Give me the Rams to win on the road and kind of staple Kind of their stamp on the season, like, hey, we're still contenders. Gets 8-2 on the year, and their 2 losses would be at home to Washington, a tough matchup there in week 2, and their other loss was against Seattle by, I think it was 4 points, when Cooper Kupp had the ball in his hands to win the game, just dropped a little slant route there, a little seam route, I guess, against the Seahawks in the final minute of that game. So I think the Rams are for real. I like their head coach. I like Goff this year. I think people were too quick to judge last year when he had a defensive-minded coach who was on his way out. They were too quick to judge, and with him, with a guy like Sean McVay calling plays for him, can be really, really good and lead a team to the playoffs.
His line was also absolute garbage last year.
And Whitworth is a freaking animal at left tackle.
That's been
He's got to be like 30.
It doesn't matter how old he is, Trevor.
Like, in that, to me, that's what makes him so impressive. Is he's been in the league for what feels like ever.
He's not even old, okay? I'm kidding. He's really
what is he? He's 35, which, for an offensive lineman, and Max could probably attest this. I know you're obviously you're not as old as Andrew Whitworth, but the more you play that position, the slower, and the older you get, the slower. I mean, obviously, the slower you think you begin to move. Am I right?
I don't know what these guys are laughing at. Let me see the picture of him.
They do,
because he's bald and he looks like me.
He looks like you, like a little bit bigger, obviously, because you slimmed down.
He's 6'7", 330.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, 6'4", 230 now.
What were you in your playing days?
295.
I didn't know what he looked like, but now it looks so
oh
good.
My gosh, whatever.
Maybe he should play or look like the
Anyway, we no, The Rock is still the look-alike for me.
Speaking of that, now that I got to think about who did you have playing Adam Dorrell in?
I can't remember.
Jason Statham.
Yeah, I got a good one that would be here internally. Matt Walker. Could you see it? Maybe I can kind of see.
Matt Walker's in too better of shape.
Like I could.
Anyways,
I just got to think about there. I could see it.
Anyways, so yeah, Whitworth, he's an animal there.
Yeah. But to answer your question, yes, at 22 years old, my back and my knees are not as sharp as most of you. So
you can only imagine what his are like at 35. And that's what makes what I was saying is that makes what he has done for this long impressive. He was with the Bengals for a long time. This is a good get by the Rams to get some veteran experience on that offensive line, and it's helped him a lot.
Yep, something the Rams. Next matchup we have the Washington Redskins at the New Orleans Saints, noon on Fox. I'm not sure what game we're getting here in this area, but either one should be a good one.
This is the Joe Buck, Troy Aikman game.
This is right here, so we'll probably get this one.
Yeah, and I read something earlier
Really? They're putting them on? Okay, because the Eagles-Cowboys are on Sunday Night Football.
I read something earlier this week about how Greg Olsen, the tight end for the Panthers, is going to help call the Rams-Vikings game.
And like the Washington.
And that really...
GM was like, I don't want this.
Because they play the Panthers like in 2 or 3 weeks.
Interesting. But in this game, the Saints are an 8-point favorite. We'll go to you first, Max, on this one. I know that Joe, he is taking the Saints, but Ryan's taking the Redskins. Who do you have?
I think the Saints' defense has been really impressive this year, especially what they used to be. When you're able to do that, and it's funny how when they trade away Adrian Peterson, they now start running the ball, and they actually work well with running the football. So when you have the combination of those, and then you have Drew Brees going, I don't have to sling the ball around 70 times a game? Okay.
My back didn't hurt from carrying the team anymore?
Yeah, no kidding. So I think I'm going with the Saints on this one. I think they're a much improved team. They're a much better team, and it's going to be an interesting clash. I think that's going to be our Sunday Night Football Week 17 matchup. I don't know. Are they playing? Whatever. If they're playing each other, that'll probably be the flex game.
How about you, Sean? What about this game for you?
Did you watch the Saints-Bills game last week?
No, unfortunately.
Well, I did.
Fortunately.
They destroyed the Bills. They manhandled them, crushed them, made them almost non-existent, and they benched Tyrod Taylor. All within 1 week, they successfully...
An unwarranted bench. We'll get to it.
Okay, true. But I'm going to pick the Saints in this game. I think they're playing really well. Last week, do you know how many rushing touchdowns they had?
6.
How many?
6 rushing touchdowns.
Guess how many punts they had?
0.
How many?
0. First time in NFL history was 6 touchdowns, rushing, and no punts. Fun fact of the day.
I mean, if I'm going to throw a team around that would get 6 rushing touchdowns, I'm not going to put the Saints up there.
Didn't the 2003 Chiefs have like 8 rushing touchdowns?
I was at that game.
2004. It was against the Falcons.
Yes, it was.
And they had 8 rushing touchdowns.
56-10.
Derek Blaylock had like 3, 4.
He had 4.
And Priest Holmes had 4.
Yep, and Jared Allen had 2 sacks on Michael Vick that day.
What
I
a
was
good
there.
day.
56-10.
But for this one, I'm going to pick the Saints over the Redskins. I don't believe in the Redskins. And it's not just because of Kirk Cousins, but it's also the fact that their entire O-line is hurt. Like they may all still play, but they're still hurt.
Got a bunch of backups in there.
Yeah, and I don't trust that. And I think the Saints' defense is a lot better than last year, but it's not fantastic. But they do take away the ball, and that is the great equalizer.
Okay, we don't need your pick, Trevor. I'm kidding. Who do you have?
I've realized I have this really bad problem of picking the Redskins every week. I don't know what it is.
Hey, they made it pay off me last year. I took the CM over the Seahawks, and it worked.
I personally really I like Kirk Cousins a lot. I think he's a lot better quarterback than some people give him credit for. If Washington doesn't pay him at the end of the year and lets him walk, I think they'll end up regretting it. I feel like the Saints might have a little bit of a letdown game after last week. Last week, about everything that could go right did. And this is a good Washington team. It's not a great Washington team, but it's a good enough team that can trip you up. So I'm going to go with that, and I am going to take the Washington Redskins.
I'm taking the Saints. Trevor, can you add up what our overall record is?
I have it right here on my handy-dandy notepad.
Before you go to that, this was what everybody did last week. Last week I was 3-2. Ryan went 4-1, as did Sean. Trevor went 4-1, and Joe went 4-1. So I suck apparently. So what's the overall records here?
Well, we have a three-way tie for first place right now. Ryan, Joe, and Sean are all 30-20.
Let's go.
I am in fourth, 2 games back, 20-22. That also goes in my logic of picking.
Whoa. What do you mean you're fourth? We're tied fourth. Yes, we are.
Where were you at last week?
I was at 25-20.
And you went 3-2.
He will not let this go. God,
Oh my God!
You actually had me confuse my math for a minute. I was like, I know I did this right. I am at 28-22. Devin is at 27-23. So all of us within 27-23 is the official. Suck it up and deal with it.
That's not what the official thing is. I am the executive of this show. It's 28 final.
Well, it's like the Ezekiel Elliott suspension. The further you prolong it, the worse it looks.
I am creating doubt in the mind of the viewers.
No, you're really not.
Yes, I am.
No,
and there's no money for me putting the line to give up my lawsuit, so it's given my objections. So
that goes into my pick as well. Taking
you're just hurting the team at this point.
I'm not hurting
the team.
I'm not hurting anybody. I am fighting for my rights.
For conduct detrimental. That's what we'll
exactly.
Too bad.
All those vote for suspension. Raise your hand.
My vote counts for 5.
Yeah,
so
no one can see us.
You just rose your hand.
My vote counts for 5.
You just voted yourself.
And I just shut his mic off in this one. So right now, we're taking the Saints right now. Next game we're going to is the Bills at the Chargers. What's everybody's pick so I can tell about the audience? Like, turn your mics off. Actually, Joe, he took the Chargers, and Ryan took the Bills. They went opposite in all their picks. What do you guys have for the picks this week? We'll go to you first, Sean.
First off,
no, Sean,
you said your vote counted for 5.
And now, Sean, you're up.
I still don't know if Phillip Rivers is going to play, and I'm still going to pick the Chargers. I do not trust Nathan Peterman. I know it's not how you say it, but I don't.
Anyways,
I don't know the guy.
Oh, boy.
And the Bills just have looked awful, and they're a team that had to rely on taking the ball away, and when they didn't, oh my goodness, this is the Bills team that I thought would come out. You're just like, oh, we can't do anything on offense. We're not great on defense. Oh my goodness, we should probably just go north a little bit and go to Niagara Falls.
And Max.
Okay.
How do you follow that up?
I don't know.
Max, you're up.
I'm taking the Bills because I think anytime you have a fan base that can throw people in tables and call it cool, you're gonna go with them. The Bills win this one.
All right, Trevor, what do you got?
Who's the starting quarterback if Phillip Rivers doesn't play?
Clemens.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills. I'm taking the Bills because Nathan Peterman hasn't played this year or ever in the pro level, so we don't know what he could bring. I've heard things of people comparing him to almost kind of like a Tom Brady where he went as late in the draft. I don't know. That's kind of an unfair.
You think?
Yeah, unfair assessment on a kid
To one of the greatest football players. Okay,
but when they asked Mel Kiper this year, is there any quarterback in the draft that you could see as like a Tom Brady steal? And he said Nathan Peterman of Pitt. I don't know for sure. To me, obviously, they've liked what they've seen in him enough to trust him with this spot. I think LaShawn McCoy can get the running game going as well. And plus, even with Phillip Rivers, the Chargers aren't very good. They
just find ways to lose.
They might not be good, but they'll keep it close. And those two defensive ends are elite in Ingram and Bosa, which is why I'm taking the Chargers in this one, even if Clemens starts, because Rivers has not been good this year. So I don't think the drop-off's going to be that egregious, even if Clemens is not good. They still have Cardell Jones. I'm kidding. He's not. He's third string.
He didn't come there to play school.
Wow. Also, the Bills benching Tyrod Taylor after losing 47-10 is just dumb. Did he keep the Saints? Was he one of not making tackles?
Yeah, that's
200 yards rushing.
I don't think he allowed
his
all
fault.
those yards.
I feel like though, like that was based on stuff that transpired all season. For whatever reason,
This decision
Tyrod,
is not coming from the head coach. It's coming from the GM who picked Nathan Peterman and not Tyrod Taylor, saying, I want to
Yes.
see my guy on the field, which is absolute crap.
And for whatever reason, Tyrod Taylor has kind of not gotten a fair shake in Buffalo by the fan base. And
10 touchdowns, 3 picks this year.
And he was good last year too. 17 touchdowns, 6 picks. A couple years ago, 20 touchdowns, 6 picks. And maybe if you're Buffalo, you can justify this by saying, "Hey, look, Tyrod Taylor, I believe, is his contract up after this year. I believe you can justify and say, hey, look, we're gonna have to address the quarterback situation in the offseason. They have 2 first-round picks this year that they got from the Mahomes trade. This could be their way of saying we want to see what we have in Nathan Peterman before we go out and invest ourselves in a first-round pick like a Mason Rudolph or a Josh Rosen or something like that, because they're in position to move and get the guy they want. They just have to figure out whether or not they need the guy."
I still think it's dumb.
No, I think it's dumb, too.
I think it's dumb right now at this point, but
When
we'll
you're
see what
5-4.
happens. I think the Chargers also find a way to win in their home game. Also, there might be 20,000 people here because the Bills won't travel great to L.A.
And they have a lot of fans out west for some reason, which makes no sense.
Because people want to move out of Buffalo.
True.
Dang.
And I also think that, like, to me, this benching also says the Bills didn't expect to be 5-4.
No.
Like when Sean and I did our preseason picks, I think he had the Bills going 3-13 with
2 wins against the Jets.
And I had them going like 5-11 with 2 wins over the Jets, like a win over the Dolphins, like wins over crap teams. Like I don't think they expected to be at 5-4.
They tried to tank and they failed at it, which is just
Which really, that
they're
might
the
be
6th seed in the playoffs right now in the AFC.
like trying to tank and not tanking might be worse than actually tanking.
Also, the Bills have not made the playoffs in 17 years. So you would think, you know what? We have a quarterback who can get us the playoffs and get that monkey off our back. Let's go for it instead of being the Bills.
It'd be different if they were even 3-6 right now.
Yes.
You know, but when you're in a playoff position, why do that?
I think the Chargers win this game, get back in the playoff contention, actually still be 4-6, and only a couple of games behind Buffalo, and you're only a game behind Buffalo at that point with the head-to-head.
But don't they still have the Eagles and the Redskins?
Doesn't matter. They're back in
left?
the it's the AFC. 8-8 might make the playoffs this year. They have 8-6 seeds. So we'll see what happens. Next game we have Sunday Night Football on NBC. The Eagles at the Cowboys. Eagles are about a 3-point favorite in this one. We'll go to you first, Max. Who do you have?
Eagles big. I think the Eagles
Boom.
go in there and they win by at least 17 points.
Boom. Dropping the hammer down.
Yeah, they're going to drop that hammer, and they're going to make sure that Jerry Jones is going to be further publicly embarrassed.
And actually, this line has moved to 5-point favorite now for Philly in this
Doesn't
one.
matter.
Exactly. You're
They're
still
not
taking 17.
they're
You're
not
taking
even-
10 points.
They're not even going to be close to covering the spread. The only time they're going to cover the spread is if they're not going to cover the spread.
I know
Trevor.
Joe and Ryan, they agree with you. What about you, Sean?
Well, I think this comes down to a simple fact. Is Tyron Smith playing?
He's out.
Bell's playing,
we're
not
just gonna-
Chaz Green.
We're just going to do a little bit of transit property here. So Adrian Claiborne, who in his own right is
Derek Thomas.
is a pretty good player.
He's
but
good,
he
but
should
not-
not get 6 sacks in a game. Okay, but you get the Eagles' defensive line. Oh my! Dak may have like a second and a half maximum to throw this ball, or he's going to hand it off. He's going to get hit in the back. I mean, the Cowboys, they may not get to 150 yards.
Oof. Absolute. And also, is Sean Lee playing, or is he out?
Let me look that up.
Because if they don't
real
have
quick.
Sean Lee or Tyron Smith along with the Elliott suspension, no, this is not a playoff team.
This isn't
This is a team that can win, like not just a playoff team, but they're not going to beat a lot of teams.
Also, one thing I want to say, if you're the Dallas coaching staff and you see your left tackle is getting burnt every single drop back, put a tight end over there, chip him. I don't care if it's not like in your regular playbook to help the left tackle. Adjust on the fly and help the guy out because he's getting manhandled on the left side. It's not hard to figure out. I just understand. I don't get it. I don't even blame the player at that point. At that point, he's just not good. It's like the Philip Gaines effect. Like at this point, I don't blame Philip Gaines. I blame Bob Sutton for putting him in the situations to fail.
That's a good point.
I mean, too, but then again, sometimes he makes plays. You're like, that ball went straight to your head, bounced off, and
I'd blame Bob Sutton for putting him in that position because we know he's bad. Anyways, Trevor, who's your pick?
So looking at the injury update, nothing completely official, but it was reported the other day that Sean Lee is likely to miss a handful of weeks. And I don't know if
They
you
can't stop
guys
his nosebleed now.
I don't know if you guys happen to come across this, but Des Bryant did not practice on Wednesday.
Oh, they're so
Good job.
So
Chiefs, you
he
injured him.
may or may not play.
I'm
it's
so
tough
glad we
to
played the
say.
Cowboys 2 weeks ago before they broke down. That was so great.
Yeah, I really. So I'm gonna say that between Vinnie Curry and Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham and Michael Kendricks or who's the?
And Doug Peterson getting a sack. I don't know who else you want to get.
I'm gonna say between them. I'm gonna say Dak Prescott with no Tyron Smith and no run game. I'm gonna say Dak Prescott gets sacked at least 8 times, and for one reason or another, Cooper Rush. Remember that name. He will end up getting some. It might be garbage time, or it might be because they have to scrape Dak up off of the field. Cooper Rush will play at quarterback at some point this week for the Cowboys, but the Eagles will win easily.
Also, I don't think the running game is going to be that bad for Dallas. They still have Alfred Morris and Darren McFadden.
But they don't have Tyron Smith.
You run to the right side. So we'll see what happens there. I'm taking the Eagles, too. I think they win by 10 points or more. I'm not going to go as far as Max and say 17 or more. But
I'm going to say at
digits.
least 17.
Okay.
I would agree with Max.
I'm going to go double digits here, especially with Sean Lee not playing. I think the Eagles go on the road and win in Jerry World. And just Jerry Jones keeps getting embarrassed on national TV.
You know, it's funny because Trevor and I are agreeing quite a bit on this show, and there's no television cameras to capture it.
I know. And
this will be on YouTube later.
Next week, we'll go back to our hateful selves, probably. Well, not next week, 2 weeks from now.
Because you'll say something stupid.
Yeah, or you'll just like being a big meanie.
No, I'm only mean when you say stupid things.
No, I think you're just a big meanie.
All right, anyways, up next we have is the Falcons Seahawks on Monday Night Football.
You're getting us in trouble again.
Okay, Max, say yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, Seahawks hosting the Falcons. Seahawks are a 3-point favorite. Both Joe and Ryan are taking Seattle. I'm taking the upset in the Falcons here. What about you, Sean?
Well, this is really interesting because I've seen a few different Seahawks teams. They went out and they scored a lot of points against the Texans, whose defense really isn't horrible.
It's bad now.
But well,
it's so beat up.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like at that point, they still weren't allowing a lot of points, and they were still getting defensive touchdowns. And then they showed up against the Redskins. I was like, that's just like I picked the Seahawks in that game, and I went into that day like I was like, okay. Well, then the Seahawks don't do anything for 3.5 quarters except a safety by their defense, and then the offense kind of shows up, but then Kirk Cousins comes to the rescue. But I think the Seahawks are going to win, but I'm not sure why. The Falcons really haven't been the same team of last year. Their offense isn't entirely clicking on all cylinders. Tevin Coleman's going to be the starter for the Falcons because Foreman is out for Freeman. What am I doing?
Don't worry, I do the same thing.
But he's going to be out for at least this week, if not more, for his second concussion on the year. And I think this is going to be a close game, and I think the line is just about right. I think the Seahawks are going to win close.
Trevor.
I'm going to take Seattle. I haven't seen anything from Atlanta that shows me they can be consistent. They lose against the Panthers a couple weeks ago. Then they thump a defeated Dallas team. I think this is kind of back to letdown land for the Falcons this week.
Where is letdown land? Where is it located?
It's going to be in Seattle.
Probably in Cleveland, honestly. If I was going to, it'd probably be in the Brown Stadium.
No, it's not a letdown. It's just they're always there, so there's not much of a letdown.
Let's be real, it's in Lawrence.
Because they have basketball, so they can at least.
Yeah, and then March
land.
happens.
See, but it's like you can have a party for a bit.
We'll get to that later.
Anyways,
Russell Wilson, I think it's kind of gone under the radar how he is having like an MVP caliber season. When you look at what's around him, they have no running game.
Or offensive line.
Yeah, like he has made plays and kept them at least somewhat relevant. And for that, I'm going to take the Seahawks, even without Richard Sherman.
Max.
I agree. I think Russell Wilson is the heart and soul of that team, even though, Richard Sherman, apparently has beef with, I don't know. They don't, some people.
It's Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle's weird. But anyway, I'm taking the Seahawks. I think Russell Wilson, again, finds some way to scramble around for a play that shouldn't be able to happen, and he makes a play happen, and they say another thing that they complain about, player safety and all that. So,
okay. That's fair.
That's my extra analysis. There's going to be a post-game comment. That's going to be fun.
One thing I'm going to say about this game, when I'm taking the Falcons, is Seattle, as you said, no running game. Offensive line is not very good. Their offense is all on Russell Wilson making a Aaron Rodgers type play out of the pocket, and I just don't think you can rely on that week in, week out. I know you said the Falcons, they've been up and down a little bit, but so are the Seahawks.
Yes.
And I know the Falcons, their pass rush should be able to get to Russell Wilson a little bit here, and I think they're going to be able to get a win. It's going to be an ugly game. But I think they have enough options. Also, with Richard Sherman out, that's their heart and soul at defense. And who's covering Julio Jones?
Probably himself, because even when he is wide open, he still finds way to drop balls.
That's one time.
Well, you got to think
How
about too.
Who's going to cover Sanu?
And that's where it'll get interesting. You got to think about this too, though. You know, it's a Monday night game, which that's could be a really good Monday night game in Seattle. The 12th man, they're going to be jazzed. They'll have all day to consume.
It's not even loud there.
They'll have all day to consume their Starbucks and Rainier beer or whatever they choose, and they're going to be loud. They're going to be jazzed, and they're going to be ready to go.
It's going to be 49 degrees. It's going to be chilly. It won't be that bad in Seattle. And it's not even the loudest outdoor stadium in the NFL. I don't want to hear it from them.
Yeah, but they're near the coast, and it gets really cold. Like, trust me. Like,
yeah, okay,
a 45 degrees in San Francisco is cold. Cold.
All right, so that's what we have for our NFL
That's
picks.
a heat wave in January here.
The coldest winter you ever spent is a summer in San Francisco.
Okay.
That was Mark Twain.
I
think.
beg to differ. Have you ever been to northern Minnesota in December? It's cold.
We're done
Have
with
you ever been to San Francisco in summer? Hey! Oh, I thought you took mine.
Now you're done.
Come on.
We're going to take a break here and come back with some D2 playoff talk here on the Weekend Sports Kickoff. And welcome back into the Weekend Sports Kickoff. I'm Devin Albertson, joined by Sean Nino, maybe Trevor Mater, and Max Moore in this segment. As we
What
just
do you
talked,
mean maybe?
You know why.
You might just turn off your mic, honestly. You might have to be on the ground just like going to sleep.
As we just talked about some NFL football picks, now it's time for some more football, this time of the Division II variety, as we're going to the D2 playoff picture. We'll start in Super Region number 3, where Northwest Missouri State is at. They're the 6th seed in their region. They play Ashland tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And, of course, the other two games in the region, Ferris State, they are hosting Ouachita Baptist, so we wait to see if I can say the name right. That game's at 11 o'clock as well. And then UND, they are hosting Harding at noon over in Indianapolis. So a lot of interesting games going on in this region right now. One of the more difficult regions in the nation, with, of course, Fort Hays getting the bye this week. They'll face the winner of Ouachita and Ferris. So what do you guys think about the playoffs this year?
Sean?
Well, I mean, this is the first time. Well, okay, sorry, second time since I've been here that Northwest has to go on the road at any point during the playoffs. I mean, my first year here, undefeated. Third and fourth year, undefeated. Second year, not undefeated, but
Went to Duluth.
yeah, that was a game that they were up like what 21-7,
21-6, or 21-3 maybe at one point
They
even.
should have won that game.
something like that.
probably.
And see, yeah, they should have won that game, but they didn't. This is kind of one that I hope it doesn't end up like that, where they'll get up early and then like a late heartbreaker, because those always feel bad. I mean, not only do you lose the game, but if you have a lead for so long, you're just like, oh wow, that super sucks. For Northwest, we've already talked about it, but this defense is not quite going to have to carry the team, but unless the offense picks up from what they did earlier on in the year and even what they did last week, then this defense is going to have to make some plays of their own and stop Ashland from doing anything. And I actually watched your Division II football show from Monday, Tuesday.
Yes.
I don't know what day it was, but it was
It
a
was
day.
it was up there. I think I actually recorded it Monday, like Tuesday morning, really early in the morning, and posted it Tuesday.
Sounds about right. And you went through all the matchups, so I got a little bit of insight, but not like a whole lot of insight.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. But I think the Ouachita and Ferris State, I think Ferris State, as you talked about, probably were one of the best teams in this region. And they're going to be a hot team. In the UND Harding matchup, I mean, Harding runs the triple option and UND's undefeated. That's pretty much the extent of the knowledge that I have about these two teams. And from what I've heard from you, Ryan, Max, even some of the, just some other people in Division II, there's like they don't think that UND's the caliber of like a 2 seed per se, so they are on upset alert.
They're probably the worst 2 seed in the tournament this year. So
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna call my shot and predict it. Harding beats Indy tomorrow.
What score?
I'm gonna say it's close-ish.
Close-ish.
I'm gonna
52-62.
I'm gonna
That's
say.
a lot of running.
Do they play? They play outdoor, right?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't.
I don't think
know.
any Division II school
Well,
has the funding for an indoor
in a-
stadium.
I didn't think so. But
But
I
they played in Indianapolis Colts Lucas Oil Stadium.
I
so.
didn't think that either.
Yeah.
Basically, they're looking at the same weather possibility as Ashland. So cold, wet. I'm gonna say 20-17 Harding wins because I think the triple option is just a little too much for Indy.
Max.
Are we picking games, or
No,
just
or
overall-
just
overall
overall thoughts on the
Overall
region?
thoughts on the region.
Okay. Fort Hays, they're going to go up against Ferris State. I think Ferris State takes care of Ouachita, not Wichita, but Ouachita Baptist. And it's going to be a doozy. That one's going to be, as Jim Ross would say, going to be a bona fide slobber knocker. And,
I don't think so. I think Ferris State runs away from them in that one.
well, they're both strong teams. They're just going to beat the crap out of each other.
Are we talking about Ferris State and Fort Hays?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the first round matchup. I'm like,
No,
oh.
that's what I said. Ferris State is gonna take care of Ouachita,
Okay,
Wichita, whatever, hoo-ha. And,
Ouachita, yeah, you
And
did.
then Indianapolis and Harding. You got to think that Harding might win this one, but I don't want to be unfair to Indianapolis. I know we've kind of given them a bunch
It's
of
fine.
crap for not being that good. You want to think, oh, they're gonna shut up some haters, but then again, we could all be right and being like, okay,
Well,
they're not that good.
And that goes back to the triple option. I don't know that they've played a team this year that would run a triple option.
At least not well.
Yeah, not as good as Harding. So that's something that is as I'm sure you can attest to, having been in that film room before, is difficult to prepare for on probably a couple weeks' notice, yet alone a week's notice.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, especially even just learning how to run their offense, from some, scout team practices. It's different and it's hard, but yeah, I don't know. I would think Harding has a very good shot at winning, and I think
So-
they might end up winning. And then
And they've proven they can win the playoffs last year, making it to the regional championship. You know, they didn't do well versus Northwest. It was a bad
Right.
matchup for them against the Bearcats. But they went up to Sioux Falls. They got a win there last year on the road. They won their first round matchup versus Central Missouri, who was a decent team last year. So they've shown they can beat decent playoff teams in the playoffs. So I think they can go on the road to UND. It's probably the best matchup they could hope for, and I think they're going to go on the road and get a win there. So
So, Max, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Regarding the triple option.
Yes.
Not just you having to learn.
Yes.
But on paper, is it a lot easier to, figure out than it is seeing it live? Does every team have a way to stop it? It's more of just going out there and actually doing it.
yeah, I mean, you gotta. It's so assignment driven. You have let's say your three inside guys, including your D defensive tackles, and then your middle linebacker, let's say. And then this is just throwing up the really simple game plan. You have those guys take care of the dive back. You have your defensive end and your linebacker. You have your defensive end take the quarterback, and then you have your safety / corner, I guess, take care of it. You have to have those assignments set on each play. And so
different. If they shifted formations, if they bring guy in motion, it changes in a split of a second. So you got to be on your toes. and
right,
ready.
it's more assignment driven. So it's just a matter of that's why it can happen in such big plays. Sometimes you just mentally check out for a second, and all of a sudden you picked up the wrong guy, and it just never works. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we had to rerun the play because the guys on defense just didn't get it, or they just messed up on their thing, and then you just hear them say, "Oh, dude, you have the option back. You don't have the quarterback." They go, "Oh, okay," and then they would run it again, and my head's getting bashed in there, and it's it's painful. But yeah, it's a lot of assignment driven, and so it's hard to pick up things on the fly, especially when it comes to the triple option.
Especially when it's only 1 week to prepare for it. So
Right.
We'll see what happens there with UND and Harding. Who do you think is the favorite to come out of this region? I would probably say, and I'm probably going off the wall, I think Ferris State's the favorite to come out of this region as the 4 seed. I know Fort Hays, they won the MIAA. They definitely earned that right. They've earned the respect of everybody in the region. But I think Ferris State, if they don't lose their quarterback, Bell, for most of the year to an ankle injury, I think they're the one seed. They go undefeated in the regular season. I think they're just really good on both lines. We saw it last year in the semifinal game. They were a tough team, and they brought almost everybody back from last year's team. So I think Ferris State, I think they're the favorite. I think they're going to be the marginal favorite. It won't be like Northwest was the favorite last year in the region, but I think Ferris is the favorite to get out of the Super Region number 3 this year.
Yeah, I would say them or Fort Hayes. I would say if you had to rank them, I would say probably I'm kind of torn between Ferris and Hayes just because I've seen Hayes in person and what they can do. I might give them a slight edge. I mean, that's a physical team that is defensively sound. They can run the ball well. They made plays offensively through the air as well when need be. They've already shown they can beat Northwest. Now, you can make the argument, yeah, that was with Zach Martin, and now Jonathan Baker is at the helm and whatnot, and the Bearcats put themselves in a situation to lose that game, but they still get the W in the win column. So I would say those two. And I think Northwest is probably the third best team in this region, and I think it's a pretty close if you rank in the top 3.
Yeah, I think if you want to rank 1 through 7, who we think is actually like the favorites, I think you could go. It might be probably Ferris, Fort Hayes, Northwest, Ashland, and then Harding, UND, and then probably I know Baptist right now is the 5 seed, but they have to go through both Ferris and Fort Hayes to get even to the regional championship game. That's why they're so low, with my opinion, because their route to the championship game is so much harder than anybody else.
I might flip flop Hayes and Ferris, but other than that, I would wholeheartedly agree.
And I think Ashland, they're still a really good school. I don't want to take anything away from them being the 3 seed right now in the region. They definitely earned that going undefeated in their conference play, and their only loss this year was on the road to 3-point loss to IUP in Super Region number 3. So they're definitely a very solid squad there. And we'll go to Super Region number 1 here real quick. I don't know how much you guys know about the teams up in the Northeast.
Jokes.
Sean. As IUP got the 1 seed in that region, the 4-5 matchup is Shippensburg and Westchester. The 2-7 is Shepherd versus Findlay, and Assumption hosting California, PA. A lot of different playoff teams that last year. I know IUP, Shepherd, and Cal PA are more of the mainstays in that region for playoff teams every year. Assumption's been making the last couple of years out of the Northeast 10. And then, of course, Shippensburg, Westchester are always – that PSAC always kind of rotates teams in there as well.
I'm just going to predict that IUP wins that region.
I think it's a good bet, them or Shepherd.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what I was going to say. I mean, one of either of those two teams, I mean, Assumption lost last week, or else they might have been –
to an average Bentley team.
Or else they might have been maybe the 2.
Yeah, they would have been the 2, yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it's pretty much Shepherd and Indiana, PA.
Yep.
Has Shepherd lost a game this year?
Nope, undefeated, 10-0.
Okay. I just didn't remember.
The reason they were probably the 2 seeds because they only scheduled their 10 conference games. They don't have an out-of-conference game to fit that 11th game. So IUP going undefeated 11-0 in the PSAC gave them the advantage for the 1 seed.
Okay. Either of those two teams, and I don't think either of them have trouble before that. It's just going to be them in the regional final. And
I will say Shepherd and Findlay, think of an Oklahoma State-Oklahoma game right there where those two teams score a lot of points because neither one plays much defense this year. So
cool.
Have fun with that. If you're looking for games to watch. So all those games start, the first 2, Shippensburg, Westchester, and Shepherd, Findlay, they both start at 11, and a noon kickoff for Assumption versus Cal PA. And I think Cal PA can win that game too, by the way. A little upset there. Another 60, I think, can move on to the next round. So Super Region number 2, West Alabama got the 1 seed, only 1 loss this year. The 4-5 matchup is Bowie State hosting Delta State, games at noon. Virginia State hosting West Georgia as a 7 seed. That game is at noon. And then Wingate hosting West Florida, the 6 seed. That game is also at noon. All 3 of those games are at noon. West Florida, only their second year of the program, and they're already in the D2 playoffs. So the Argonauts making some noise down south.
Did we ever figure out what an Argonaut was? I think we had this.
Well, you're supposed to search.
Isn't there a Toronto Argonaut team?
Yeah.
CFL.
Was it
Canadian
something
football?
with mythology, maybe? I think
Probably.
we had this discussion.
He's got like a Trojan head thingy, like I don't know, like a warrior's head. So I don't know.
the Argonauts were a band of heroes in Greek mythology who, in the years before the Trojan War, around 1300 BC, accompanied Jason to, I don't know how to pronounce that, in his quest to find the Golden Fleece. I'm not going to mispronounce that because at that point it may violate some rules. I'm just not going to deal with that.
Well, you know, the I don't know how to pronounce it clan of ancient Greece is actually pretty well known. You didn't know that they had a clan called I don't know how to pronounce it?
I mean, I don't think it was in English, but maybe in Greek, you know.
Yeah. They just said, and the clan of, well, how do we read this? I don't know how to pronounce it, but we're a clan and we're going to attack you. And so then you have that happen.
Quality radio.
Super Region number 2. 4 teams from the Gulf South Conference made the playoffs in West Alabama, Delta State, West Georgia, and West Florida. West Florida, they were actually the 10 seed in the Super Region the week before, and they beat up on West Georgia in the last game of the regular season and vaulted up to the 6th seed to make the playoffs. And I think actually all 3 of the Gulf South teams in the first round have a good chance of winning those first round games, even though I think Bowie State and Delta State would probably be the best game of the bunch with those 2 teams right there. Bowie State from the CIAA. So that's what you see in there. Bowie State, they have number 1 offense in Division 2.
Is that the MIAA's cousin?
I guess so, because I was told that I kept saying CIAA, and they told me it's CIAA. So I was correct on that. I am adjusting. Also, I said Bowie State to start out with. It is Bowie State. So it's
Bowie State?
It's Bowie.
But it's spelled like
Bowie.
Like you, yeah.
Which I made the mistake once, and then I was corrected saying it's Bowie. And I'm like, okay, thank you. So definitely have to adjust.
What nice people.
So it'd be like it's David Bowie, right? Not David Bowie.
I think they say Bowie.
I think it's Bowie.
I'm pretty sure it's Bowie.
David Bowie, yeah.
Yeah, and it's spelled the same as like.
Well, they go
just
Bowie.
because things are spelled the same way doesn't mean they're
English language, man.
phonetically the same. Come on, Trevor.
Darn English.
Also,
Like
like people call my last name Moore.
Like with a
Like
U?
Moo. Or
Well, that's just because you're in the Midwest.
Yeah,
I thought you were about to say something else, and I was ready to give you a stone cold stunner.
Save
I
it
think
for
West
TV.
Georgia right now, the 7th seed, a very dangerous 7th seed. They're playing Virginia State, who has a really good offense. So there's that. And then Super Region number 4, Central Washington got the 1 seed. They'll play the winner of Winona State and Texas A&M Commerce. That game's at 1 o'clock. Minnesota State, Mankato, they're hosting Colorado State Pueblo at noon. And then Midwestern State versus Sioux Falls at 1 o'clock.
Did you say Texas A&M Commerce, if they win, will have to go to Central Washington?
Yes.
Holy travel.
Well, it'll be paid by the
That's-
NCAA.
That's what planes are for, Trevor. Come
Yeah.
on, man. Like,
No, I know, but that's a long travel for
Well, I think that's bad. They have to
Division
go. Central Washington has to go to Simon Fraser, which is in British Columbia, in Canada. It's like 2,000 miles.
respect that.
II. Central Washington?
Yeah, they're in the same conference as Simon Fraser, who's a Canadian.
Well, it's not that far from
Well,
Central Washington.
What about Azusa Pacific, who's in Los Angeles? Has to go up to.
That is a drive.
They fly.
Yeah.
They take a boat.
Take a boat up the Pacific.
Do they really fly?
I assume so. It's a long drive from L.A. to Canada.
Well, yeah, you're telling me. Yeah, L.A. to where I grew up was like 6-7 hours.
Yeah.
Let alone all the way up to the border. But wait, Simon. I'm pretty sure Simon Fraser's on the West Coast.
They are. British Columbia.
Yeah.
How
so
far did you say it was from
you
Central Washington to Simon Fraser?
You said 2,000 miles.
Maybe that was from Azusa.
That probably
Because
is.
it wouldn't be 2,000 miles from Washington.
How
to,
about you?
Because Washington is here in British Columbia. I know
We
that.
almost got a fight.
And there we go. Also, this game we have the rematch of the 2014 national championship game with Minnesota State Mankato hosting Colorado State Pueblo. The 2-7 matchup. Minnesota State is a huge favorite in that one.
As
So-
they should be.
Trevor, your mic's back on.
Yes.
So your mic's back on. Don't use Sean.
I was trying to
Thank you.
hijack my mic. Oh, come on, Trevor.
So a lot of decent matchups here. A lot of teams with 1 losses making in. Pueblo is the only 2-loss team making in this year. Kind of a controversy that they actually made it in. They actually got in via earned access. If you're in the top 8 in the region and no one else from your conference gets in the top 7, they flip them the 7th seed. So that conference is represented. Because Duluth was probably actually the 7th seed, but with Pueblo, they switched them so they get into the playoffs.
How unfortunate.
Actually, I
that-
think Pueblo, if you actually look at it, total, they weren't even in the top 10 going the last week. But with Colorado and Mesa losing, I think they jumped Pueblo to 9. Mesa was at 8, and Pueblo beat them head-to-head, which flipped them, and then Pueblo flipped over Duluth due to earned access. So they jumped from like 9 to into the playoffs in the top 7 with a couple of qualifiers there for them to get into the playoffs. But Pueblo, another school that's only been D2 for, I think, 10 years now. They've made the playoffs 8 or 9 times, so another team that's been in the playoffs quite a bit. Texas A&M Commerce versus Winona. So a lot of good matchups there with see some Lone Star versus Northern Sun schools. Different contrast of styles there a little bit, but should be fun. I think Mankato is actually the favorite to get out of that region and win that one. So Minnesota State, a very good squad up north. So my Final Four, if you want to do a quick prediction here, I would probably go IUP, Ferris State, West Alabama, and Minnesota State Mankato. So a couple 1 seeds, a 2, and a 4, making the regional. Win each regional for me. I'm not expecting a prediction on you guys for Division II. So
Good expectation.
Trevor, just take all the 7 seeds.
That's
Why
Trevor
not?
taking a
So you're
16
taking
seed.
Colorado State, Pueblo, Harding,
No, I would say
Findlay, and West Georgia.
I would go probably Indiana, Pennsylvania is
IUP, yeah.
IUP. I'm gonna take Fort Hays,
Okay.
and then in the bottom 2, I don't know why, but I'm. You said Virginia State's offense is good, so
Yes.
I like Virginia State
Okay.
and Central Washington. We'll go kind of chalk.
Boring. All right.
Could be effective.
I don't think it's going to be.
Boo, Trevor.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it for our Division II football talk. We come back. A little bit of college basketball, some reactions to the early season stuff there with college basketball. Kansas actually scheduled somebody. Still won't play Wichita State, but they scheduled
Never.
somebody.
It's not going to happen.
Chickens.
But they played Kentucky.
And they beat Kentucky, too.
Yeah, they did. So we're going to take a quick break and come back more here on the weekend Sports Kickoff. And welcome back into the weekend Sports Kickoff. I'm Devin Albertson, joined by Max Moore, Trevor Mater, and Sean Nino. As we're going to talk some college hoops now, as we just got done with our D2 playoff picture. Look there at around Division II. It's time for some college basketball. And Sean, this is your time of year. Here we go.
Well, it tries to be, and then I get sad at some points, and then
Normally March.
generally March. Yeah, hopefully it's more towards April, but it's been March, and then I've been inconsolable some of those times.
Inconsolable.
Big words.
It's a big word for Sean.
It's a big word.
Sean's word of the day is inconsolable.
Our word of the day earlier, my other show was alas. So
Interesting word.
it was interesting. I'm sorry for all the viewers that listened to that this morning. But Sean, what do you think of Kansas' win over Kentucky?
Well, when it came out that a certain Kansas freshman was not
Billy
going to
Preston.
play,
What's up with that? Is it Adidas coming after him or something?
No, they don't know how he got the car, and like
Sure.
Let's say, though, that assuming this is a one-off situation, which it's tough to say that.
I mean, it's tough to say either way at this point because there's not enough info.
Assuming it's a one-off situation, say there is something fishy about the car, and he got the car through
Like an
ways
agent
that
or
he
say.
shouldn't have. Yeah. This is a good thing they caught it now than if, say, they would have played him and this would have happened in the middle of the season, because then you're looking at, okay, well, he was ineligible. They would have had to forfeit everything. So,
By the way, forfeiting wins is the biggest joke in the NCAA because you know what? I saw the game happen.
Yeah.
I saw who won.
I mean, I get how else are you supposed to punish them, I guess, but I
so
do agree. It is
stupid.
so
Take away
it is
scholarships on like
It is
you're gonna-
Like,
incredibly.
we took away Reggie Bush's Heisman. You know what? I still saw him that year. He was still
Yeah.
great. He still was the best player in
He,
college
I think
football.
didn't he refuse to give it back? I think
I'd
he,
refuse.
I think he still has the Heisman. So like he won the Heisman, but he did win the Heisman, just like Al Gore was president, but he wasn't president. Reggie Bush won the Heisman.
Wait,
so
no, but Al Gore was never president though. Reggie Bush won the Heisman.
yeah, no, it's the same but different.
No.
No, there was a ceremony. They gave him the Heisman.
because like this is like the popular vote versus the
Like Al Gore was never
electoral
like been
college.
sworn
Yeah,
in
no.
president.
no, but like Reggie Bush had his hands
He
on
won
the
the
trophy,
Heisman.
took it home. No,
There was a whole
And,
ceremony.
then 5 years later, they're like, psych.
no, that would be like if Devin was elected president for 4 years, and then somehow like, so you weren't actually president. We're not really sure how we kind of
that
got
might
through those
happen here
years.
next year, Sean.
That's fair,
Possibility.
but
Anyways, so Kansas beat Kentucky. I still say that Duke was probably the best team in that championship
Yeah,
classic.
as they should.
When you look at that game, Kentucky's
Which game? Okay.
Kentucky Kansas game. Kentucky's a very young team. They
Yes.
started 5 freshmen.
Shocker.
They got on the boards, and Kentucky I think is bigger than Kansas outside of I'm gonna butcher this, Udoka Azubuike. Is that right?
Yeah,
Or-
that's-
I think you got it right.
Yeah.
Holy cow! Outside of him, they're a lot bigger, and they got dominated on the boards in the first half. Did better in the second half. Kansas didn't shoot well throughout
No.
the game.
No, they did not.
Like, I mean, they did not shoot the ball well at all.
But they won, and that's all that matters in the end. Kind of. You can still take stuff away from a game, obviously, win or lose. But Kentucky, they have so many guys who've been used to being the guy, and so they have to kind of find a way to mesh as a team.
Well, Kevin Knox is really, really good.
Yeah, he just
He's
kind
the
of.
one that was going to go to Mizzou, then went to
then
Kentucky.
didn't,
And I'm
yeah.
like,
Well, like he had Mizzou like on his top 5, I think, after never visiting Mizzou, and I found that interesting. I think he was the
because
one.
they got Michael Porter.
Yeah, but it was like his top 5. It was like Kentucky, Kansas, North Carolina, Duke, and Mizzou.
Which one of these does not belong?
Yeah.
Kansas. I'm kidding.
If we're talking football, maybe. Oh no, none of those. None of those.
Mizzou
Mizzou,
still might be the one that
Kentucky,
doesn't belong.
Duke. None of them would belong. But I digress.
Anyway, so yeah, interesting matchup there for Kansas. Yeah, I'm trying to look forward in like the schedule coming forward if there's any good games. I know UCLA plays Creighton, so there's an interesting undefeated game right there.
There are a lot of like great single game.
Watch out, KC. If I don't, never mind. Ball's not traveling, so he can't steal anything. So we should be good.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a good joke I heard the other day. I can't
roasted.
remember it now. Oh my goodness, I can't. You guys keep talking. I'm gonna try to remember it.
Yeah, that whole thing is just crazy. And, they've been indefinitely suspended. I'll be curious to see how long that indefinite suspension is. Because you remember a couple years or last year when Grayson Allen tripped, I can't remember if it was a player from Florida State or where it was.
I thought it was Elon.
Maybe, well, it was Elon. I don't remember.
Elon and the Florida State when he jumped into the crowd.
Yeah, okay, I had those confused. When he tripped the Elon player, Coach K came out and said Grayson Allen is suspended indefinitely.
One
For
game
one game
later.
which is cool. I like the SpongeBob reference, by the way. Which is cool. Like, if you're gonna suspend him for one game, you're the head coach.
Say one
You
game.
have the right to do it. That's fine. But just say we're suspending him for one game. So who knows? Maybe they just suspend him till they're into conference play. Maybe they're suspended half the season. Maybe they're suspended the whole year. If you're Steve Alford, this is a way that if you're really growing tired of LeVar Ball, this is maybe a way you distance yourself from LeVar Ball. Now, in most situations, you would say, well, it's not fair to take it out on the kid for what the parents did, which is right. But at the same time, LiAngelo Ball put himself in that situation by stealing a $3,000 pair of sunglasses when you drive a Ferrari.
Right. Yeah, we talked about that last week. But, why? Ask your dad for some cash or something.
Yeah.
Or
I
don't
don't-
buy $300 pair of sunglasses.
I was gonna say like,
3,000.
yeah.
Whatever.
Either
Same
way.
thing.
Don't steal them in China.
I bet in my life.
China.
I know in my life I have never spent $3,000 on sunglasses. I don't know. Have you, Max?
I don't even think I've spent more than like a couple $100 on
Yeah.
anything.
Trevor, have we spent more than $300 on a car?
Barely. I barely spent that on. So I don't even have a car that's worth $3,000, and this kid's out here stealing sunglasses.
Yeah.
Come
well,
on, man.
and do you think LeVar sends Donald Trump a pair of big baller brand sneakers? To
I can
say
just see him
thanks?
strutting around the
No,
White
what he's
House.
gonna do is
and
he's gonna send him a shirt that's a medium baller shirt.
I can just see. I can
My
just
friend
see
bought one of those.
I got
sorry.
Donald Trump's gonna be strutting around the White House in the
Big
the
baller.
ZO2s or whatever they are with the shirt. I'm a big baller. I can just see it. That's gonna be great.
Stay in your lane.
I would like to thank LeVar Ball for
His
his
huge
wonderful,
contribution.
wonderful sneakers.
They're the best sneakers.
The best sneakers in basketball. Better than the LeBron James fellow.
They're the greatest of sneakers. Anything else is fake news.
All right,
Oh my God.
we're done here. With
You know what, Devin? There's a game that I want
Anyway.
to talk about.
Anyway,
with,
what game? Back to college basketball.
With you in specific. What happened with Missouri last night against Utah?
I don't get the
Michael
Pac-12.
Porter was
I do
out.
not get the Pac-12 network, so the game didn't even happen.
Yeah, that's the biggest fake. That's my fake news team of the year, Mizzou.
Michael
I
Porter
think it's
didn't
still. I
play.
think it's still too
That's
early.
my fake news team of the year.
The number
Everybody's
one
saying they're
recruit in
going
the nation
to go
didn't
to
play.
their Elite Eight. They're going to go to the Final Four. Hold on. For one, they will not make it out of the Sweet 16 if they make it out of the first round, let alone.
I mean, that's
And-
fair, but Attila didn't have their best player last night. And he's
No,
just
I'm
the
not
best
talking.
player.
I don't care about last night, but they're the most overhyped team in the past decade.
They're not even ranked.
I had
No,
someone.
but every single person in Missouri land thinks that they're going to the Final Four.
Duh.
I'm gonna go ahead and say right now, and I made this remark in one of my classes the other day with some Mizzou fans. I think Mizzou finishes fourth in the SEC this year.
What? Fourth?
I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna say I think Florida wins the SEC.
And then what? A&M.
I'd say I might put Kentucky ahead because that team will get better. I'm gonna say Kentucky A&M, and I mean A&M's playing really well right now without their best player.
I mean, right now as a Mizzou fan, I'm looking for good and make the tournament.
But as a Mizzou fan, fourth place will most likely get you in the tournament.
yes,
most
it
likely.
should. It should.
You know, you might be a 10 seed or an 11 seed, but wouldn't you, when you look at the dumpster fire that it has been the last 3 or 4 years?
it's a good season.
But at what point does Michael Porter Jr. go into the NBA and then it's just like, okay, we're back to irrelevancy now?
And I don't know, maybe maybe he's made that a cool place to go, or maybe he will because he brought other guys with him. I think you're probably right that this could just be a one-off thing.
Or where do we get to the point where there's possible sanctions coming down because nobody gets these big recruits?
Nothing illegal happened, okay?
That you know of.
I'm kidding. I don't
Devin's
know at
probably
all.
the same guy that when all those corruption charges came in college basketball, he was probably like, I didn't know college basketball was that corrupt.
Yes, my sarcasm self was singing that the same thing. Sarcasm, Trevor.
Like I heard someone.
I'm kidding.
Like I heard someone after that, they're like, I didn't realize college sports are that corrupt. And I'm like, well, you obviously only watch
There's a little
very
bit of-
bad teams play college sports.
You watch D2 Sports.
Yeah,
It's fun times. It's good basketball, good football,
it is.
competitive.
No, what I'm saying, he
Yeah.
he hasn't seen corrupted sports, so
Yeah.
he hasn't
Yeah,
watched
like-
D2 Sports.
Have you been living under a rock for the last 50 years? College basketball is,
I mean, the
Prob-
FBI is in this investigation. I mean, good Lord.
and that's the thing is, this is more than just like schools going on probation or coaches getting show cause orders. This is coaches looking at time in prison.
Oh, yeah.
Prison time.
Like that is a very intriguing thing, and that's what I find this Kansas thing more compelling is, this stuff comes out and it might not be anything. The way they released that public statement, it was kind of weird.
It was.
We got a clear financial picture. Okay, is it insurance reasons? Or are they trying to? They never specifically said.
Well,
And-
apparently he had damage to the car, and they wanted it to look at it weird. But like just the way they put it was like, that's not a way you say it. It's like, hey, you got in a car accident, so we're gonna hold him out the game. Like if you had said that, oh, okay, I kind of want.
We have felt that at this
something more.
time it is best that Billy Preston does not play tonight. Without putting the fact that we need to get a clear financial picture of the car, because that drew, I know you, the Kansas fan, and we talked about this, that drew a lot of red flags.
Yeah, you sent me a picture. It was something like a Mizzou fan made, and it was like a Porsche, but it had Adidas logos everywhere. And I was like, that's actually pretty funny. Like I can't lie about that.
Anyways, back to Missouri for a second. I will say they only scored 19 points in the first half. That's not great. They just
Not
scored
great, that's terrible.
Boo.
That's not great for a high school team.
They
That's
scored
terrible.
40 in the second half. So they got took them a half to get used to not playing with Porter. Also, Tillman, their other big recruit, only played 6 minutes. He fouled out.
Yeah, that's like, I heard that this morning.
I'm
and
like,
you can, and you
6
can-
minutes, what happened? I'm like, oh, 5 personal
you can,
fouls.
what's he like? He had 4 and 13 against Iowa State, and
He's a good rim protector. Just he fouls a lot.
yeah, he's a good rim protector for the 6 minutes he's in the game. That other 34 minutes he's
For
not
that
really.
game, he would have averaged 33 fouls per game. Like, let that just sink it. Like per 40 minutes, that's 33 fouls. You can't play basketball that way.
He also had
You don't play basketball. You're on the bench.
What is he now doing? Well, is he just not moving his feet, or is he just
I
like?
didn't get to watch the games on the Pac-12 network. So I
Is
don't
he
know.
just like clotheslining people when they come to the lane? Like, yeah, he's a great rim protector because he fouls you every time you go into the
Straight
lane.
Bill Lambier on people. Just kaboom.
Like nobody can score on him, but just wait till 12 minutes to go in the first half, and you won't need to because he'll be on the bench.
Yeah, not great, not great there for Tillman.
How many minutes has he played this year?
Good question. Total of 30 probably through 3.
And he's probably got about as many fouls.
He's playing about 14 minutes a game, averaging 4.3 fouls.
Okay, so
It's not great.
you're averaging a foul every
Okay, here we
3
go, here we go,
minutes.
here we go.
It's not even good.
He played 25 minutes versus Iowa State, had 3 fouls.
That's a foul every 8 minutes. Not terrible.
Versus Wagner, he played 10 minutes, had 3 fouls.
That's a foul every 3 minutes. That's pretty bad.
No, he had 5 fouls. He fouled out.
That's a foul every 2 minutes.
And then he played 6 minutes and had 5 fouls
That's
against Utah.
literally a foul. Did he
That's a
start
total
the
of
game?
41 minutes. He's
Yeah, he
just
did.
barely played a game. Like he has just barely played a full collegiate
And he's
game.
got what? He fouled out twice and had how many fouls against Iowa State?
3. So he has 13
he's-
fouls in 3 games.
So we played 41 minutes and he's got 13 fouls. He is averaging a foul every 3 minutes. I don't know whether that's impressive or sad. I think it's
Three
like
point-
sad-pressive or something. Like,
3.15 minutes. Like that's how often he picks up a foul.
I mean,
is
it
he
happens.
starting the game?
He only has 5 turnovers.
Well, it's easy when they can't get the offense going before you foul out. Yeah, of course he's only gonna have 5 turnovers because he's
Wait,
probably
that's actually okay. So he's
it's hard
not
to-
getting it on the offensive end.
Well, they could be charges.
it's hard
well,
to turn the
No,
ball
it's
over.
on the opening tip. On the opening tip, he tips it and he accidentally just runs into the foul. Oh,
We're just gonna go ahead and assess Jeremiah Tillman. Is it Jeremiah? I think it's Jeremiah.
I think so, yeah.
We're going to says Jeremiah Tillman, his first personal foul of the game before tip-off. It's like when a team gets a technical for dunking the ball in warm-ups.
That's so
like,
dumb. He also has 11 rebounds. And 7 of those came against Iowa State because he's played a total of 16 minutes the last 2 games.
Against Wagner and Utah, which aren't exactly Duke and Kentucky.
Well, you're not wrong, but it happens, okay? He's just playing aggressive.
No, does it though? Does it really? There's a difference between playing aggressive and just being bad.
No, he's not.
Like, I think he's good. Like, I think he's really good.
He has a fouling problem. We saw that in the exhibition game versus Kansas where he fouled out.
Yeah, you can't.
7 fouls, guys. Like,
you can't foul out in 3 of your 4 games and have half as many fouls as you do minutes and not say, I have a fouling problem. Obviously, you have a fouling problem. Water is wet. The sky is blue until about 5 o'clock. Then it'll get dark. But he has a fouling problem.
It's gray out right now, actually, so you're wrong. He also has more personal fouls than minutes per game this year. So,
yeah, that's...
It's the same, actually, 13 and then 13. So,
yeah,
that's what,
no,
it's fine.
stop it.
Rough. It's fine. It's fine.
That's
I
like...
don't think it's fine.
It'll work out.
Like,
That's
those
not
kids...
okay.
Like if you do that in high school... Like,
This is me
don't
playing
play.
basketball, playing someone who's a lot more athletic than me and just fouling them every time they go for a layup.
Yeah, this was me in 7th grade basketball. The only difference is I am here
And
doing
Tillman's
this.
athletic.
Yeah, and he's athletic or doing that.
It's fine. He's young. He'll figure it out.
Hopefully.
I hope so, because you're not going to be a good basketball player if you keep doing that.
Also, think about bad basketball players right now. Lonzo Ball is almost ready to get dropped for the big baller brand. Let's be real here.
Like, the narrative on Jeremiah Tillman is going to be, yeah, he's good for the 5 minutes that he can play.
It was 6.
Ooh, excuse me.
Okay,
He's going to be like Josh Jackson, like, oh, when he's not getting suspended and doing stupid stuff, he's good. Except instead of doing stupid stuff, he'll foul out.
That's fine. It's
You
not
say
fine.
that now.
Okay, we're gonna take a break.
I just hope Mizzou loses the game because Jeremiah Tillman fouls out in like the first 2 minutes and they just get absolutely dominated down low. I bet you won't be saying it's fine then.
They'll be fine when Michael Porter comes back.
Boom, roasted.
Michael
I mean,
Porter
they
comes
don't
back,
even
he'll be
have
fine.
the full story on his injury. He
It's
keeps
gonna be
getting
fine.
He keeps getting held out. Like, I'm just
Sean,
saying,
it's gonna be
this
fine.
This is a weird thing. It's like something's up.
I feel like Devin's getting sensitive right
It'll
now.
be fine. Mizzou's still
Get
going to
some
the Final Four.
Sensodyne. We need some Sensodyne here.
I am triggered right now. I'm kidding. But yeah, we'll take a break, come back, talk about some MLB awards that we're heading out this week here on the Weekend Sports Kickoff. And welcome back into the Weekend Sports Kickoff. I'm Devin Albertson, joined by Trevor Mater, Max Moore, and Sean Nino, as we're going to talk some MLB playoff awards, and if we agree with the selections there. Of course, this year they gave them out over a span of like 5 days, which I don't like to do. Just have an awards show and get it over with. I don't want to.
Yeah, didn't they used to do that where it was like...
It used to be normal, yes.
Yeah, now it's like we're going to announce the Cy Young winner on... Was Cy Young winner Monday night?
Wednesday.
And then the MVP was last night. The manager of the year, I think, was Monday night.
It might have been a rookie of the year.
Yeah,
Either way, it's dumb. Just announce it in one day, one sitting, one big show.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go through what the awards were. The AL MVP was Jose Altuve. He got 27 of the 30 votes for first place. The other 3 votes for second place. Following him in votes was Aaron Judge, Jose Ramirez, Mike Trout, Lindor, Betts, and Kluber. So those were the top vote getters.
Did Eric Hosmer finish I think 16th is what I read in the voting.
That was just the top.
16th or 15th.
I saw the whole list. Maybe I can try to pull it up, but
Does it matter if you're that low?
it doesn't.
Well, I mean,
It really-
okay.
no,
like,
it-
all
it
things
really-
considered, that's not low. Like if you're talking about getting the first for an award, but being the 15th to 16th best player for the AL, it's not bad. And he's probably going to find a new home. and get
That's
paid a
just
lot of money.
something Royals fans try to enjoy too much.
Participation trophies everywhere.
No, it doesn't.
It's
mean
just like
anything.
Cardinals fans bringing up the fact that Yadier Molina is one of the best catchers in baseball. It's like, hey, we get it. Your team still sucks.
Well,
That's harsh.
coming from an A's
you're a
fan,
Cardinal
too.
fan. Oh,
It's really harsh, and I think Ryan would be mad at you too if he was here.
well, hey Ryan, if you're possibly listening,
Probably not, but yeah,
we'll show him we'll tell him.
No, I think they got right with Altuve though.
yes.
Because you can make the argument for Judge, but when you look at what Aaron Judge did, it was literally either I'm gonna knock this thing out of the ballpark,
it was
or I'm
done
gonna
to
strike
the
out.
extreme.
Yeah, I'm either gonna hit a home run, or or I'm going to strike out. I don't know what his strikeout per walk ratio ended up being, but I'm guessing it was terrible.
Probably not good.
That's the thing that is really like bad about him as a fantasy baseball player is his ratio is awful.
Yeah, but he still hit a lot of home runs, so it really helps.
It helps. It kind of offsets.
You were just bringing fantasy baseball to this discussion for MVP.
I did. Jose Altuve just does everything well.
This guy. Mic off for that. I'm kidding.
Jose Altuve does everything well. So yeah, I think they got it right with going Altuve.
5-4 in the champ.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jose Altuve was not only the best player, during parts of the year, he was the best player throughout the entire year. Aaron Judge, he had moments post All-Star game where he started facing that second half, or he started facing the teams the second time around, and pitchers go, okay, we've seen this guy before. We know how to strike him out.
Find the holes in
How many games did he go with a strikeout?
Like 30. There's a lot.
Come on, man.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you kind of figure out, okay, this guy, he's good, but then other teams figure out how to pitch to him, and then it's just downhill from there.
And the thing with guys like Aaron Judge, who's, he's a power hitter. There's no secret about it. When you're 6'7", 280 pounds, obviously he's going to be a power hitter, is you can kind of nibble with those guys. Whereas a guy like Altuve, who's smaller and not quite the power hitter, he's going to have more plate discipline.
Yep.
So pitchers, the second time around, they were able to see that, hey, we can put this one here on the outside corner. To most people, it might be a ball, but this is Aaron Judge. He's big, he's powerful, he's going to make a swing at it, and Steve Reich.
And then talking about big swinger, Giancarlo Stanton won the NL MVP. He was first. He got 10 first place votes, 10 second place votes. He actually won the award by 2 points over Joey Votto, who had also 10 first place votes, but had one less second and one less third. So that's where the difference was between those two guys. And Paul Goldschmidt was third. Arenado was fourth. Fifth. And Blackman, Rendon, and Chris Bryant.
See, and Stanton had an incredible year. Don't get me wrong. But it all depends on what your definition of most valuable player is. I think the Marlins were very good. I think they're even worse without Giancarlo Stanton, as we might see in 2018. But if we're looking at how they helped the team, I would say probably Nolan Arenado. The Rockies had two guys in the top 10, I believe. I think did Blackman finish.
So they might have split votes between those two guys alone.
Yeah.
So they finished fourth and fifth.
Joey Votto might go down as one of the more, I don't really know you can call him underrated, but more of the under-the-radar guys to ever play the game, because he's played on a lot of bad teams in the last 5 or 6 years. He's a very, very good player. It's just a shame that he's wasted away in Cincinnati when they've been in rebuilding for the last 5 years.
Yeah, I know the Marlins. They went 77 and 85, but it's been really hard for me to vote for Joey Votto, who went 68 and 94.
Yes.
I know Goldschmidt.
They made the playoffs.
He had 93 win year this year. I know the Rockies, they won 87 games, so I probably would have voted for Goldschmidt, but I see why they put Stanton, because he hit so many homers.
And that's the thing, is it's hard to ignore that. So I anticipated Stanton. I would have with you. I would have voted probably Goldschmidt or Arenado. Either one of those would have been my way, because I'm more of what they do for the team as well. But you can make the argument that the Marlins were 77 and 85, and without Stanton, they could have been 57 and 105. Yeah. As, like I said, we might find out.
Have we ever had a MVP get traded the next year?
I'm sure. Let me look into that.
While you're looking at that, we'll go to the NL Cy Young here real quick. Let's do something to bounce off of that, Max.
Do what?
You have anything to bounce off?
No,
that?
I was just curious if we've ever had that, because Giancarlo Stanton's had such a great year, and he's been such an asset.
He could be the second MVP traded.
Well, who was the first?
A-Rod.
From Texas to New York.
I think he was actually going from Seattle to Texas.
Oh, even back further.
Sure. Let me look into that.
But because it's interesting how the Marlins don't want. He's worth a lot of money. Or at least he's
a lot of money.
$68,000 a day.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Cha-ching. I could do that.
That would be my whole year. That'd be 2 times my whole year as a entering sports reporter.
He's making it in a day.
Yeah, he's making it in a day. I get that in a year, and I don't even make all that in taxes.
He makes that in 12 hours.
I make that in 2 years.
He makes it in 12 hours.
Yeah, that's good. Good to know. And all he does is hit a baseball.
Hard.
Really hard.
See,
I know.
I hate when people are like, and I know the way you're going about this, but I hate when people are like, well, athletes don't deserve to make the money they make. You can make the argument they don't, but at the same time, it is our fault that Giancarlo Stanton makes what he makes, because we watch the game, we buy stuff for our respective teams. I know for Max it's the A's, for Devin it's the Cardinals, and for Sean and I it's the Royals. We buy that stuff. We buy tickets to the games, or at least I know I do and Sean does. A lot of people buy the MLB extra innings and whatnot. If you don't want to make that money, don't watch the games. Just saying.
Well, that and you said it. It's just you don't have to. There's if you don't make your company billions of dollars, so why like if Joe Schmo at corporate Joe Schmo Incorporated, he doesn't make them $1 billion a year, whereas the Marlins. Giancarlo Stanton's going to make them about $1 billion.
I'm going to guess that Giancarlo Stanton probably helps their ticket sales and stuff significantly because you're in Miami. There's not really a ton of interest in baseball anyways because you're in Miami. There's like 100 different things to do during baseball
also a big
season.
Cuban population, though. It's big in baseball.
I mean, I guess you kind of got that, but when your teams are bad.
That's true.
But Giancarlo Stanton, they want to see if he'll hit a home run.
Yep, that's fair. The NL Cy Young, the top 10 there. Max Scherzer won the award with 27 first-place votes. Next up was Kershaw, Strasburg, Greinke, Jansen, Gonzalez, Robbie Ray, DeGrom, Nelson, and Alex Wood got one fifth-place vote. So
I read something earlier this week that Clayton Kershaw is the first pitcher in MLB history to finish in the top 3 in each of his first 6 or 7 years.
That's impressive.
That's pretty darn
He had
good.
25 second-place votes, so he was definitely number 2 on the list. Like him, and he was well ahead of Strasburg for second place.
He was also out for a while. So
he was. So
yeah.
and Scherzer has been really, really good this year for the Nationals. So
There's
Yeah.
just something about the name Max and winning.
It's true.
He also has 2 different color eyes, which he did an interview on ESPN afterwards, and it was really. I understand like it's not his fault, it's like genetics, but it's still like
That's
it's
interesting.
weird. It's weird. It's
Like,
weird,
what
but
are the
it's,
odds? What are the odds of that?
they've said it a few times, but it's just
1 in 72 million.
You might not be wrong.
I don't know.
17%
Look
of
it up.
stats. 17% of stats are made up, just like that one.
Yeah.
Ha.
I mean,
But Max Scherzer is definitely. He also won a Cy Young in AL with the Tigers, so he's definitely a guy who's.
odds of having 2 different colored eyes.
And up next for the AL Cy Young, their top vote getters: Kluber, Sale, Saravino, Carrasco, Verlander, Kimbrel, Santana, and Stroman. What, Trevor?
So it's got a diagnosis. I'm gonna butcher this.
Let's do it.
Heterochromia iridium.
Close.
0.25% of the population. So roughly out of every 25,000 people, 65 people have heterochromia.
Okay.
So that's not nearly as
But
bad.
it's still pretty rare.
It's still pretty rare, but not 1 in 72 million.
That's weird though. Like you go to a Royals game, there's 25,000 people there. Does that mean there's roughly somewhere around 65 people that have multicolored eyes?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Different colored eyes or multicolored eyes? 'Cause
Different.
I have multicolored eyes.
Well, and some people's eyes kind of change
Mine
color
change
a little bit.
between green. If I'm wearing green, they're more
Yeah.
green. If I'm wearing blue, mine are more blue.
Interesting.
It works well.
Mine used
Women
to be-
notice it.
There you go, Max.
Women notice it.
There you go. AL Cy Young, Kluber wins
I
it.
just have to avoid looking at my head.
Chris Sale is second.
Oh, it's so
Saravino.
shiny.
All right, Trevor. AL Cy Young, Kluber. What do you guys think about that one?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
He really clubbed that one.
He
Chris
missed a
just-
lot of clubs this year.
That's
Ooh.
Chris just didn't do his sales pitch hard enough.
Oh,
No, I mean, I don't really care.
Wow.
But Chris,
This is what I was worried about when we went to a 3-hour show. Is that we would get the last hour would just be lame puns, and we would all find them way funnier than maybe they should be. That was good though. I'm proud of you guys.
well, I mean,
That wasn't lame.
he had a good year.
Little
and I
bit.
mean,
They were lame.
He was good at striking people out, and I mean, he just, there were 2 good guys, and other than that, they're really.
Big
Yeah.
drop off for those two.
Yeah.
Big drop off.
Who's third?
Severino,
Severino.
whatever.
That
the
shows
Yankees.
the drop off.
Yeah, that's why I don't even know.
I think they got it right with Kluber. I wouldn't have been like overly surprised had they gone Sale, but I'm a little biased. I like Corey Kluber a lot more than I do Chris Sale. I've never been a Chris Sale fan, so maybe that's
Why? He always plays bad against the Royals.
But he's a everything I've ever read about him. Just he's a head case, kind of a little bit of a meanie.
He got mad at the uniforms they were wearing.
Well, because the White Sox are dumb.
That's not.
That doesn't give you an excuse to take off your uniform and cut it up.
Yes, it does.
Like if you don't like the jerseys the Bearcats are wearing on Saturday, Max, are you gonna
Not
tell?
possible.
Are you gonna complain to Coach Wright that I don't like these. No, you're gonna suck it up,
He's
and you're
also
gonna wear the
Max.
uniform, and you're gonna stay on
Hey.
the sideline like a champion.
Okay, first of all, you're yelling into your mic. I need you to knock that off because it's really loud. Second of all, it's Max, and he wouldn't do that because the Bearcat uniforms are great.
They are.
It's in the White Sox, okay?
Yeah. I don't know what you want me to say, but
Max
yeah.
did in a head case like that, though.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not.
Thank
but
you. That's all I
think-
wanted.
Yeah, I think
What's your
that-
point here? You're also the star player of the football team. I don't know
So
if
it
it's the
doesn't
Max,
matter. You're still a
It
part.
does. It
but
does
you're
matter.
a part of the team.
I know, but it does matter if you're the star player or not, and especially in professional sports.
But it's
like,
but I know it does. But it
the
shouldn't.
back
Just suck it up.
Less.
Just suck it up and go out there and pitch.
No.
Like
If you don't like the uniform,
what
you
did
think it's gonna
that?
affect
Like, did he have like a pregame routine in his like?
if he thinks his uniforms are
like,
going to
I
affect his
don't
pitching, then
Yeah,
he
was he
should-
like I don't ever wash my pregame uniform that I pitch in, so I have to have the same exact one. Okay, then that's
actually
weird.
disgusting, honestly. But
It's very
okay.
disgusting. But if that was his argument, I would understand that more than just I don't like my uniform that we're wearing today.
Whatever. AL Rookie of the Year. You just hate Chris Sale for no reason at all. AL Rookie of the Year. Aaron Judge got all 30 first place votes.
That's-
And I don't care about anybody else other than that.
Who did
So-
get second? Does it say?
Andrew Benintendi.
Who do you play for?
Red Sox.
Red Sox.
Oh, great.
That might have actually. I didn't know that Aaron Judge was going to play all year. So Andrew Benintendi was my preseason pick.
You're wrong.
Yeah, obviously.
NL Rookie of the Year was Cody Bellinger. He got all 30 first place votes. Paul DeJong was second. So,
Good
You-
for him.
Just think Bellinger and Judge are rookies.
They're probably going to hit a bit of a slump next year.
I think Bellinger has more of an upside than Aaron Judge.
I think so too. I think Judge you could see a massive slump in.
it just Judge plays for the Yankees, so he's
And
going to
he's
be
in-
blown out of proportion.
And he's in Yankee Stadium, which
That helps.
like you can hit a ground rule double and it's a
out of the
home run
ballpark.
in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, but let's not be quick to judge.
All rise. That's what they always say after he gets a home run. in the
Yeah,
Yankees,
but you
so.
don't. You just,
I know.
You should.
I'm just waiting for him.
All
Like,
rise, the Judge
like
is here.
I hope I hope the Yankees don't mess this up, and at some point when he comes up to the plate, his walk-up music's like the Law and Order theme song or something.
Dun, 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 dun,
I couldn't do it. I was hoping someone could.
Manager of the Year, Twins
Dun,
manager,
dun, dun,
Paul.
Molitor.
He got it.
Oh, good for him. The Twins.
Francona was second. Hinch was
Oh, you
third.
know what'd be
and
cool?
Girardi was fourth, and he got fired.
If Aaron Judge, if they had a little thing where it goes, now up to bat is the guy from Fresno State, and this is his story. Dun dun.
Oh, wow.
That would be.
That'd be pretty cool.
The honorable.
Dun, 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 and it goes.
That would be.
Any complaints on the AL Manager of the Year?
No.
Twins.
No,
definitely
when you
deserve
take the Twins from bad to a wild card,
Bad
I think
night
team,
that's the
events.
first time they've had taken a 100-team win or a 100-loss team to a playoff team the next year. I think that's one of the first time that's ever happened, isn't it?
I think so.
There's a statistic that related something toward that.
There's always a baseball statistic for something.
Well, yeah, obviously, but meaning like it was something. It was impressive,
Yes.
and it wasn't like some fictitious ESPN makeup stat where it was
First
like
time since 2012. That wasn't even long ago.
first time or the first.
The Bearcats beat Missouri Western for the first time since last year.
Yeah, or like first time someone's hit a home run at 35-degree temperatures in Yankee Stadium
at 4:23 p.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Against the relief pitcher
Yeah,
from Arizona.
Those stats crack me up though.
deep analytics,
Yeah,
next gen stats.
like Blake Bortles has never thrown an interception on January 7th. Well, yeah, because Blake Bortles has never played in January, obviously. Like,
No, he has New
It's a
Year's.
New Year's Day.
true,
Never the second week.
but never later than like January 3rd.
That's fair.
No, Break.
NL. What?
I was gonna say Blake Bordelais.
Bordelais potato chips. Holy cow! I am salty today.
Just like
geez.
those chips.
Oh my goodness.
Salt and vinegar.
Just like Chip Kelly.
What? Chip Kelly and vinegar. Chip.
What were you saying, Devin?
NL Manager of the Year. Diamondbacks.
Torey Lavallo.
Yeah, that guy.
That's
Dave
another
Roberts
one-
second. Bud Black third, and so forth.
Bud Black, Rockies, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
All NL West.
Yeah.
Top three.
I think they were right with Torey Lavallo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If
Better
not,
than me.
If not, someone please let me know.
Yeah.
But they went from I think they
All of you out
lost.
there.
Yeah, all of you that are that passionate about Diamondback baseball here in Northwest Missouri State. My first question to you is why, and my second question to you is how do you pronounce the manager's last name? But
He goes, why?
But yeah, they I think he earned it, obviously, when you turn a team that wasn't very good last year into a playoff team, even though they got swept by the Dodgers in the divisional series. Good pick, as he was the manager of the year.
Yeah, it's similar to the Twins. You know, the guy with the Twins, you know, when you're taking a team that's that bad and making them good, you deserve some recognition for it, and I think they're pretty excited about the futures they have over there.
Well, and you look at the young talent on that team, particularly Minnesota with Dozier and Buxton and Sano. That's a team that could – and Joe Mauer's like grandpa age right now, I think. He's got to be close to 40. They've got some – their pitching is suspect. They got to clean up their pitching. As Sean stands up, I thought he was going to like club me or something. But
he should have.
Yeah.
He stood up and kind of looked like he was ready to drop an elbow on you.
I think Sean realized, like, you know what? I got to work the game for BRN tonight. Trevor's calling the game. I don't know what's going to happen if...
Not for BRN.
Not for BRN, but for X106, yeah.
Not taking Matt Tritton's job.
No.
Back off.
No, don't. He's much better than I am.
It's a fact.
But,
Fact.
yeah, I'm just kind of rambling now, waiting for Devin to tell me to shut up so we can go to commercial.
No, you keep talking. I'm still looking for the right song here.
Okay. What song are you looking for?
I'm definitely looking for your favorite song.
Oh, it's that time. It's time to just let it go and enjoy the weekend,
hope this is the right one. We'll take one more break and we'll come back with what we're going to do this weekend here on X106. And welcome back into the Weekend Sports Kickoff. That song just for Trevor, as he hates that when we play Disney music here.
I think I'm learning to love it.
There you
Because
go.
his hair is as white as snow.
I've just decided to let it go.
There you go, finally.
Oh.
As he lets
Just
it go.
Just
We
like my
rhyme.
hair.
As it's time for the final segment of the show. What are we going to watch this weekend? We're going to start with Sean. What are you watching this weekend, Sean?
Tonight, I'm going to be engineering the basketball game for the Bearcat Radio Network, so I'll be
BRN?
tuned into that. Probably watching the Kansas game tip off at the same
Who
point.
are they playing?
South Dakota State, so actually not a horrible team. They have Matt Dahm, who's actually a really good player.
But it's not Wichita State.
They're not going
I'm
to play
kidding.
Wichita.
What they play Kentucky?
They're not going to play. Like you could talk about, they're not going to play Wichita State. I could
They're running.
I think they should play them, but they're not going to play Wichita State. And other than that, Saturday, I mean, kind of the Bearcats. I'm going to tune into that. I'm not sure how I'm going to watch it.
It's called the internet.
No. Like I know that there are ways out there, but I don't know if I want to like tune in with the radio, watch it on the stream, keep up with stats. I'm not really sure
Why don't you
Watch
just watch the game,
On the computer.
because it might be the Ashland stream, and I would rather watch.
and then you
John.
can turn on the radio and listen to John and
Ooh.
Ryan.
But I don't have an actual
Yeah, follow
radio, so
Ryan
it'd be
Elliott.
delayed.
No, you
Online.
Yeah.
online, you dingus.
Then it may be off.
Sean just.
Ryan,
There's some
you
app you
sound like a
can
big
get.
complainer right now.
That you know what? At 4:55 on a Friday afternoon, that might be my biggest strength of the day.
What are
What about
watching
you?
Sunday?
What are you doing, Max?
Chief. Whoa.
Chiefs.
Trevor started talking. You went to Max. Good choice.
Chiefs, Trevor. Go.
Well, tonight we're gonna call the Northwest game, and then
Yes, we are.
tomorrow myself and Jacob Blair are gonna call another Northwest game as they host Truman State as part of
Yes.
that Northwest Classic. I have a Christmas party I have to go to tomorrow. I don't know why you have a Christmas party in November before Thanksgiving, but nonetheless, I have one I'm supposed to go to tomorrow night. And then Sunday, I'm gonna watch the Chiefs play. It is also the NASCAR Championship race at Homestead Miami Speedway,
Go.
as
Truman.
well as WWE Survivor Series. So
Okay, that didn't
Ooh,
matter.
That's gonna big. That's big.
Martin
Yeah.
Truex, right?
I'm gonna pick Kyle Busch.
That's
Oh,
what
I
I
hate
picked
you.
too.
I hate him too, but
Don't
I'm gonna
pick him.
I'm rooting for Martin Truex, but Kyle Busch is gonna win.
Don't pick Kyle Busch.
I already did.
Don't do it.
You should have heard Sean's picks on our podcast this week. They were
Hey,
expertise.
hey,
What?
hey, we're not a NASCAR show.
Better than a wrestling show.
I'd rather watch wrestling.
We got a converted guy over there. Let's go.
It's not scripted, so let's go. Anyways, next.
Choreographed. Get over
Yeah,
it.
there's a
Whatever.
big difference.
Big difference.
Whatever. Next. What are you watching this weekend?
What am I watching this weekend? Well, that's a good question. I don't know. Saturday, I'm gonna watch the Cats, and then I don't know if there's any games in the evening for Division II. Are there?
I don't believe that. They're all. I think the latest one starts
noon
at
to
1.
1.
Yeah.
So I'll probably just watch the Cats on Saturday after early afternoon.
There's a couple games that start at 1 o'clock. So.
Yeah, so I'll watch the Cats, and then we'll be just hanging out at home. Probably go see Daddy's Home 2. That's probably I'm going to be watching that. And
The first one is
Yeah, and your mic's off. You were leaving us, so Now say it.
The first Daddy's Home, and I'm guessing you've seen the
Yeah, I've
first
seen
one
the
because
first
you
one.
wouldn't watch the second one. The first one is hilarious, so I didn't realize it was this weekend. I need to check that out.
Oh, by the way, yeah, Christmas party. I'm all about Christmas, and I'm really
too
excited. But it is too early.
Yeah.
I'm all about celebrating now. But Christmas party now, no. You
No,
can
I
get
agree.
you can do the cookies
It's-
and you can start putting up some stuff.
Thanksgiving needs
I
its
think
time.
I guess I would call it more of a winter party, I guess, than a Christmas party. But I was told it's a Christmas party, but it sounds like a
Also,
winter
Sean,
party.
trust the process. As Sean left us. He already walked out.
Have a good weekend, guys.
Bye, Trevor.
Bye, Trevor.
See you in like 45 minutes.
Okay, I'll see Trevor here in a little bit. Bring it ready for the broadcast tonight. But Max, as you said there, Thanksgiving needs its time. It needs its
Yeah,
time.
it
Thanksgiving is
does.
an underrated holiday because it gets skipped over by Christmas.
Yeah, but it's just a good holiday season in general with
Yeah.
all what's going on. I'm a big Christmas guy.
Between Halloween and New Year's, it's a good time.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're in the bulking stage for lifting anyway, so we don't have to worry about trying to eat. I mean, you still have to eat.
Are you more of a turkey or a ham person?
Oh,
Or-
turkey, 100%.
I'm more ham.
I can't do ham's too salty. Give me a nice turkey. See, even on Christmas we do burritos.
It's different.
We like changing things up in the more home. But I think the number one
It's fair.
side item
Let's go. I like this Max food talk of the day.
of
the week.
I'm going stuffing as the number 2 Thanksgiving side item. Well, that's not including like a nice roll.
Rolls I love rolls. I'm a big roll man.
Big Hawaiian king roll person.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of my favorite desserts, I don't even know if you call it a dessert, but sweet potato casserole. It's some good stuff.
Yep, Never King. Definitely a good time of year for food. If you want.
Oh,
If you want
absolutely.
to gorge yourself, Thanksgiving's great because you eat. There's football on. You're not doing a whole lot. You're just sitting around taking a nap. It's a really
and
good
it's
time.
an early dinner too. Usually,
Exactly.
It's usually about 3:00. You get that dinner rolling, so it's good.
Yeah, it's good. So we were right at 5:00. This is my weekend. Tomorrow I'm going down to Springfield for the 8-man championship game between Sacred Heart and Worth County. Both teams undefeated. The game starts at 3:00, so I'll be on K9M for that. Tonight, of course, I'm calling the game with Trevor at 7:00 for Northwest versus Metro State of Denver. That should be fun. And then Sunday, watching the Chiefs play at noon. I think Sean's coming over for that, and then see what other games are on in the afternoon. And then I think that's about it for my weekend. Should be fun. Only 2 days of school next week, so we'll have no show on Friday, but we're going to make sure we get you guys something special for the TV side of it, so we'll have something airing next week for KNWT.
We'll figure something out.
We will figure something out.
Something will be done.
So always tune in. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at X106_sports, as we'll have more information. If we do have a home football game, we will be broadcasting that. And, of course, we might have a basketball game after that as well, as Missouri Valley's coming to town to take on the Bearcat men's team. So should be fun next couple of weeks for Bearcat Athletics. That's all we got for Weekend Sports Kickoff. Hope everybody has a great rest of your day. And, Max, you have a good weekend.
You too, too.
And enjoy your Christmas break if I don't see you before then, because I don't know if we'll see each other next Monday and
Christmas
Tuesday.
break.
Thanksgiving.
Whatever.
Thanksgiving
See, you're already
break.
thinking about Christmas.
I know I am. Sorry. I do like Christmas lights, though.
Christmas lights are good.
So that's what we
Christmas
have
lights
for
are
you
good.
today. And everybody have a good rest of your day here from the Weekend Sports Kickoff.